Why are you pointing?
Welcome, everybody, to the October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Tompkins County Legislature. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we get a roll call of members, please?
Deborah Dawson.
Here.
Rich John. Ann Corman.
Present.
Mike Lane.
Here.
Greg Mezzi will be late. Dan Nolan.
Here.
Veronica Pillar.
Here.
Lee Shirtliff will be late. Mike Sigler.
Here.
Shauna Black.
Here.
Travis Brooks. Randy Brown.
Here.
Amanda Champion.
Here.
Rich John.
Here.
Dan Klein.
Here. We have 11 members present. That's a quorum. I wanted to announce that we are having some technical issues with our lighting in the legislature chambers today. So we're told that it's sufficient to make everything work, but it might look a little different out in Zoom land. So it's not a problem on your end, it's a problem on our end. And choose your own joke, Halloween lighting, mood lighting.
We all look better in the dark. Oh.
All right.
Happy Halloween.
Also, when it comes time for privilege of the floor, the 3-minute timer, the buzzer, the audio isn't working on it, so we'll have to do some kind of signal or something. We do not have any proclamations, petitions, or communications. We do not have any executive session tonight. We're going to go to privilege of the floor, but I'm going to switch the order if that's acceptable. I'm going to go with municipal officials first, and then we're going to go to the public. So first up is Pierre St. Perez from the City of Ithaca Common Council. Welcome, Pierre.
It's good to see you all. Thanks for letting me come and speak early. The city is doing budget amendments tonight, and you all know how fun that can be, so I just can't wait to be there. We are in the midst of our budget cycle. If you have any questions about it, I gave you the basic overview last time, but we're looking at a budget most likely below our tax cap. I will say, as we go into the amendments discussion, I anticipate, barring some dramatic change, both our TCAT commitment and the library funding that was mentioned last time being funded. That's not a promise, that's my crystal ball gazing. We are also having a public hearing on overriding the tax cap tomorrow. If anyone is interested in participating in that, please, any watchers, anyone. Again, my prognostication is I do not suspect, barring something dramatic happening, that council will choose to do so, but nevertheless, we are doing our due diligence on that topic. We're not really doing anything non-budget related, so any questions?
Questions or comments for Pierre? Can you remind us what the library funding was?
Yes, that is $15,000 contributed by the city, which are also contributed by the town and the county towards a joint fund for Sunday hours at the public library.
Great, thank you. Ann.
Yeah, Pierre, I just want to say thanks for your advocacy for helping hopefully get those funds, into the budget for the city. I appreciate it.
It remains something I am very passionate about.
Anybody else? All right, Pierre, thank you. Good luck at your meeting tonight.
Thank you. I shall run.
We're now going to go to public privilege of the floor. If you wish to speak to us tonight, please go to the back of the room, find one of these blue forms, fill it out, and bring it up to us, and we will put you in the queue. If you are going to speak tonight, you are agreeing to some rules, which I will now read. I agree to a 3-minute time limit. I agree not to raise my voice. I agree not to use lewd, obscene, profane, slanderous, or libelous language or speak or act in a manner that would tend to incite a breach of the peace. I agree not to speak about county personnel matters. Personnel matters include comments about the job performances of named county employees other than elected officials. After 3 minutes, I agree to leave the microphone and yield the floor. Transferring time to another person is not permitted. I agree to be courteous and not make comments, gestures, outbursts, or other disruptions while other members of the public or legislators are speaking. I agree that if I cause a disruption and am asked to leave, I will leave the chambers. First up, I had a request from Charlene Holmes, who is one of our esteemed staff members, but is also wasn't sure where to speak in the meeting, so requested this moment. Charlene, you're on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So I will be transitioning on Friday. I didn't know where to fit in. I said, do I sit up here where I usually sit? But today I'm going to come to you as a citizen of your community. And right now we have the Government Alliance on Race and Equity in town. And this is a national organization that helps municipalities do equity work, racial equity work, social justice work. It's a 3-day conference. We've managed to get over 110 of our community members, municipal members, staff, and our legislature to this event, and it's going really, really well, and the discussions are very important. So I was gonna come here for something totally different, but I'm gonna pivot, and I'm gonna share the call to action that I read at the welcome. With deep gratitude and reverence, I welcome you. This is a gathering. It's not a meeting of titles, but a meeting of minds and a divine appointment. The vision has been carried through difficult meetings, bold conversations, quiet prayers, policy rewrites, community collaborations, and late nights wrestling with injustice. And it's not just out there or some arbitrary place. Injustice happens right here. And so I ask, when do we do the real work? You would say, Charlene, what is the real work? I'm gonna ask you to take you on a journey, the inner work. I'm going to say this clearly. We are no longer allowed to blame others for what we're not willing to confront in ourselves. It is time to take radical responsibility, to identify the places where we have institutional power, community influence, and access, and to use them not for our own gain or comfort, but for the betterment of our families, our communities, and our institutions. This is the heart of the conference, is what I said there. To build from protest to policy, and you all are policymakers. To move from intention into execution. To shift from theory into practice. And to remind each of us that racial equity is not just a distant dream, it can live here. So the sessions, the breakouts, all these things that folks are going to be engaging in, it's going to cost you something. So I'm going to say to you tonight, legislature, if you really want to do this work, if you want to continue in your equity work and you want to tote around that we're so great, one of the things you're going to have to do is be honest that the work is going to cost you something. It's going to cost your comfort, it's going to cost your silence, and it's going to cost your proximity to power without accountability. So I challenge you deeply and respectfully and apologetically, okay, to posture yourself and ask yourself these questions. Where have I advanced equity, justice, and belonging in meaningful ways? Pause, breathe, reflect. Then I'm going to ask you to go a little bit deeper. Where have I knowingly impeded on the progress of others? Then, when have I used my influence to maintain the status quo rather than disrupt it? Now, those are all hard. You're going to need honesty. But then I'm going to say, if you're feeling froggy, because I'm from New York City, if you're feeling a little froggy, you're going to ask yourself this last question. When did I do it knowing that it would harm someone else? Now, this is the level of honesty we need, because this work isn't just about policies and programs. It feels good when we do that, but it's about personal transformation that leads to real, lasting institutional change. So I leave you guys with this, and you know, each and every one of you, I love you guys. Learn, grow, be present, don't check out, and don't shrink back. Lean into your discomfort, sit in your awareness, listen harder, speak with integrity, and remember, now that you're here and I've asked you those 4 questions and antagonized you, there is no going back. So I love you, I bless you, may you be fruitful, may you be abundant. It was an honor to work with each and every one of you, and I hope to see you guys in the future.
Next up is Zach Wynn.
Good evening. On October 10th, there was another death at the Asteri, with dispatch audio indicating a probable overdose. I have sent this audio to you via email. I have lost count of how many deaths have happened at the building. Also, last Saturday around 1:30 a.m., there was another reported arson in the stairwell of an apartment building in the 100 block of East Green Street, almost certainly the Asteri, with a man arrested for the crime after pulling the fire alarm himself. I sent you a story regarding this incident. During the City of Ithaca's budget presentation, a representative of the conference center said there was a $1.2 million loss during the conference center's first year of operation, spanning over 2 calendar years, and a projected loss of $700,000 during 2026. The discussion also had an acknowledgement that the circumstances at the Asteri have impacted operations, with specific mention of the 30-plus fire alarms that have occurred since the building opened, sometimes prompting evacuations of people during conferences. I have also become aware of 1 or more individuals at the Asteri being presented with electric bills, notably not from NYSEG, along with threats of their utilities being shut off, despite their lease not specifying they're responsible for your utilities, and specifically being told utilities are included in their lease. I recently visited the building, and the stairwells, while nominally cleaner than in the past, still have urine, feces, needles, and other debris like a shopping cart and stroller blocking the stairs. I have sent you these photographs via email. I would like to ask for the county to determine how many people have died in the Asteri since it first opened, and how many of the original group of 39 homeless individuals moved into the building are still alive. A few weeks ago, a Fox News host caused controversy by suggesting euthanizing the homeless with injections. Is that suggestion any less cruel than giving people an apartment to someone struggling with addiction and just waiting for them to die? Between the first responder responses, the coroner, the tax breaks, the conference center, rents from DSS, and other services being provided, what is the true price the Asteri represents to the taxpayer? At some point, I think it would be appropriate to initiate an accounting of not only the financial cost the Asteri represents, but also the cost in human life. As November approaches and the federal government remains shut down, I understand there is uncertainty if SNAP benefits will be distributed as usual. I am curious if there is any contingency plan in place by the county or state over this secession if food stamp payments, if it does come to pass. I would also like to encourage the legislature as a whole to consider reaching out to our representatives in the Senate, Chuck Schumer and Kristen Gillibrand, to encourage them to vote for the continuing resolution and bring an end to the shutdown. Also, as the dust has now settled on the flock issue, I think it would be appropriate for the county attorney to reach out to Albany to see if future iterations of the GIVE grant could be separated from the flock program and get a solid answer if this is even possible going forward. It does not hurt to ask, and there will not ever be more time than there is now to pursue the possibility. Thank you.
Next up, Sam Lubin.
Good evening. My name is Sam Lubin, and I'm here on behalf of Herald Square to ask that we have the opportunity to be considered as the location of the new center of government for Tompkins County. A couple of points that we feel warrants consideration of Herald Square. We meet the desired square footage of the proposed center of government. We can offer pricing of
I'm sorry, can you get closer to the mic or pull it up closer to you?
A couple of points that we feel warrants consideration of Herald Square. We meet the desired square footage of the proposed center of government. We can offer pricing of a new space that significantly reduces the estimated cost of the 6 proposed concepts. Herald Square is a NYSERDA Tier 3 certified building and is an environmentally sustainable option versus a new build. We can offer flexibility in terms of design, leasing, or even a sale part of the property. In terms of design, we can build to your specific needs and desires, creating brand new spaces while having the option to redesign what is existing. We can significantly reduce the disruption to county services by drastically reducing the time to completion. We can effectively deliver on parking. We can ensure the center of government is easily accessible through wayfinding measures, ADA compliance and ease of access, dedicated entrances, and options for dedicated elevators and stairways. Herald Square, as the location of the center of government, can help economically revitalize the Commons and downtown Ithaca as a whole. We can minimize the risk of construction, ballooning costs, and unanticipated delays. This option can allow for the sale of the current property to offset costs while also ensuring reliability when it comes to budgeting. Finally, we have a proven track record of developing and delivering on quality and satisfactory builds. In short, we are confident that we can address your needs, overcome and solve your concerns, and deliver a center of government that is not only a benefit to the county employees, but the community at large. We are confident that the savings in terms of cost and time will be significant. All that we ask is that Herald Square is given the opportunity of consideration. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Amanda Kirschgessner.
Good evening. Is everybody uncomfortable? I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, but I recognize a lot of people are. My friend passive-aggressively identified me as a Trumper simply because I admitted I don't hate the man. I've learned to appreciate things about people regardless of who they are because they make us look at ourselves. Donald Trump is a perfect example. His blatancy makes it really apparent how uncomfortable people are. And when people are uncomfortable, guess what? Change becomes possible. Because if you want to get out of that space of discomfort, something's got to change. So I heard about 2,000 people showed up to the No Kings rally. Let's call it a rally. It wasn't a protest, right? People had signs touting all different kinds of causes. That's about 2% of our population here in Tompkins County. They probably came from outside areas, but let's just say it's 2% of the people who live here. What we need to reflect upon is that 24% of people who vote in Tompkins County voted for Donald Trump. They're our neighbors. They're not our enemies. They're the people who pave our roads, fix our cars, and likely respond to the brunt of the emergencies happening locally. Sit with that for a minute, right? First responders likely voted for Trump because they see some serious problems. And while Trump is the first one probably to light a fire, I think it's important that we're all at least looking at it. And if we look at the people who live next door to us as our actual neighbors, maybe we could work together on coming up with really creative solutions. Like, I got a couple ideas. Not breaking ground on the center of government. Sure, Herald Square, maybe. Why not revamp the Key Bank and the Iron Curtain building? I mean, there's options, folks. We got to save some money. I mean, if we really want to get fancy, we could dust off the Board of Supervisors and terminate the legislature and go back to really old school and take local executives and put them in a room together to make decisions that impact the people who live in Tompkins County. I mean, it's just food for thought. Like, we used to do things differently. And we used to actually treat people who voted differently like our neighbors. They were people you could rely on for a couple eggs or a cup of sugar. And I understand there's a lot of convenience in being able to go to Wegmans or Walmart or Tops or PNC or wherever you shop at pretty much any hour. I mean, nothing's come back to 24, has it? Not that I'm aware of. And I don't necessarily want to go back to that. But the point I'm really trying to make is at the end of the day, it's not going to come from the federal government. If you're in it, who's it going to come from? It's going to come from your family and it's going to come from your neighbors. So please, won't you let me be your neighbor? Thank you.
Next up is Irene Weiser.
Hi, all. So, you know me, Irene Weiser, Town of Caroline. I had the privilege of attending the GARE conference today. I missed yesterday, but it's really been fabulous and powerful and important. And I hope that you know, whoever fills Charlene's big shoes can carry the work forward, and that all of you who attended today can help as well. I actually wanted to speak about the Office for the Aging. I know there was a little bit of discussion at last meeting. I know that I spoke once before on this, opposing the move. I understand that Shauna has introduced or will be introducing a resolution tonight. I just wanted to let you know that I was invited to speak at Lifelong, just as a get to know a new legislator kind of thing. And boy, there was a earful from folks there about moving the Office for the Aging. So I really support the ideas in Legislator Black's resolution to have more public input and figure out a different way forward. So thanks.
Next up is Bill Lesser.
Good evening. I'm Bill Lesser. I'm chair of the advisory board for, guess what, Office for the Aging. I'm here to support Legislator Black's excellent motion, which I understand you'll be considering later on in the evening, to take a pause on the decision about moving that office to Dutch Mill Road. I'm sorry more of my board members couldn't be here, but I understand the motion was just submitted this afternoon and not everybody was available on short notice. As you know, the office was notified only fairly recently about this proposed move, and when we looked into it, we noticed that indeed Dutch Mill Road is quite a distance away. It's far, certainly from here, from the center of the county, but it's certainly very far from a number of other locations in the southern part of the county. That's a real concern for people with limited mobility, often limited opportunities for other transportation, and often limited funds to pay for that transportation. That point is made very well, I think, earlier in the month, during when some other speakers spoke, and certainly is well presented by Legislator Black's motion. I did, though, want to emphasize another aspect of that, and that is the fact that so many of the elderly feel neglected, obscured, invisible, really. And there's a big concern that by essentially outlying them out to Dutch Mill Road, that just plays into that perception. Out of sight, out of mind, not something we really need to deal with or worry about. We're all headed there, some a little earlier than others. It's important that we recognize and welcome and treat this group within our community, and certainly Dutch Mill Road location will not do that. So again, I support very strongly the excellent motion, just to take a pause and to consider other options that might not be quite as far-flung as Dutch Mill Road. Thank you.
Next up is Tom Wright.
Hopefully I'll be able to have two things here. I'm grateful to Randy Brown and the whole county legislature for passing his tax breaks to EMTs and volunteer firemen. I'd like to alter the individual tax breaks into transferable notes that can be legal tender to pay any debt, fee, tax, or fine payable to the county of Tompkins. My hope is that people can use their hobby skills and exchange them with each other, and hopefully maintain a little more local sustainability and living standards, I guess. To Zach's comments about death and crime in the area, this is it's related, but it's a different topic. My concern is in the national media and local as well, we talk about death, crime, homelessness, mental and physical health, but we don't often tie it to the common economic component of these problems. And I'd like to suggest that on the, in our discussions with people on the state and federal level, that we tell them that having all the increased productivity from the last 4 or 5 decades transferred to the richest 10 or 1 or 0.1% of the people in this nation, we should not rely on trickle-down economics that just makes us all peons. And many of us feel like peons, and a lot of people who felt like peons have either stayed home in elections or supported people like Trump and others who seem to delight in pointing fingers at each other rather than getting to the problem, which is the dominance of corporations over our government. One problem I didn't mention was immigration. I think our government's influence over Latin American countries due to the influence of corporations have helped those people be so desperate that they're willing to get to a better place by any means possible. Thank you.
Those are all the blue cards I had. Was there anybody else from the public that wanted to speak tonight? Okay, I want to thank everyone that did come out and speak tonight. And we are going to move on to legislator privilege of the floor. Amanda.
Sure. I don't write anything tonight, which usually I do better with writing something. But I want to thank Charlene Holmes, who I have learned so much from in the time that she has been here, and for organizing the GARE conference and all of the task force who pulled that together and made this event happen. I just came from a movie that was a part of the conference called Are We There Yet? A Compassionate Exploration of Contemporary Migration, which is a documentary by Thomas Hobel. I think that's how you say it. And a number of current and former legislators are interviewed in that movie, which was good to see your big faces on the big screen. And if you have a chance to see this movie, I highly recommend it. I felt a little bit like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. And I think that what I would say about immigration that was sort of came around at the end of the movie is that it seems a lot like our governments and a lot of people within our governments have really taken the humanity out of the situation with immigration into the United States of America. I think that a lot of people have forgotten that unless you are an indigenous person or have indigenous ancestors, you are an immigrant. You don't belong here. Our ancestors came here as immigrants and displaced the people who lived here. And it's kind of crazy that so many people now don't want other immigrants to come here. That's what our country was founded on, was people being able to come here in search of a better life. We like to tout our Statue of Liberty and bring us our huddled masses and all of that, and yet when the huddled masses are actually coming here because the situation in their countries is not safe for their children, we say we don't want you. And it's just heartbreaking. These are people with children and people who are trying to find a better life. And America has always said that that's what we offer. I don't know, I could go on, but we're at a rough place in this country, and personally, if I have the opportunity to support refugees or people coming who need help and food and water and a safe place to raise their children, that's important to me. I would welcome anybody here who wants to have a better life. And it makes me very sad that other people don't want that. So go see the movie. Are we there yet? And I appreciate Charlene for asking us those questions, because I do think it's going to take all of us looking internally and deciding for yourself, you know, who are you and who can you support and why? And maybe we'll get there.
Ann.
Thank you. I also want to add to what my colleague Amanda Champion was saying regarding the couple of things, but for the GARE conference, I'm not sure if somebody said the whole name, but it's Government Alliance on Racial Equity, if I have that, what? Race and Equity. I was almost there. Thank you. So thank you, Charlene, for helping organize this and helping bring those folks here and gathering us together to talk about and learn and hear about and organize together, network together to work on these issues. And especially, you know, looking at ourselves first and bringing up the issues about it's going to be uncomfortable. So just remind my colleagues and future legislature, if things are uncomfortable, take a minute, think about it. Look at our own side of the street. What can we do about this issue? And so I wanted to also add regarding well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Charlene and good luck in your future endeavors, and please stay in touch. And thank you for all you've done for us, for Tompkins County. We are forever in your debt, really. And regarding the video or the documentary, so one of the things, I mean, I've seen some things before about immigration, but, you know, hearing from so many people who have immigrated to the United States and the stories, in the hardship that they went through, just one of the things just still sticking in my mind as I walked across town was, and Amanda and I were talking about, imagine, I mean, we complain a lot of times about Tompkins County or Ithaca, New York, or whatever, the United States, but can you imagine it being so hard that you go home and just put everything in a bag, right, and grab your kids and start walking, and knowing that you're going to lose any money or belongings along the way. You're not legally allowed to get into that country, but it's so hard that you're so desperate that you're willing to take that chance because it is so bad where you are. So I want us to think about that, of what the backstory is of these people coming here, and also what we have contributed to that, to those horrible conditions. On a slightly different topic, I just wanted to say that I attended the Human Rights Commission meeting this week, and I just wanted to say out loud to Corsa administration, just to let them know, they'll send you an email, but they really want to make sure that they're involved in the director of human rights when we do the applications and going through those. And they also said thanks to Charlene and best of luck to you. And thank you for the GARE conference too. They wanted me to extend that to you. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Mike Sigler.
I just wanted to say this Saturday I went down to Empty Bowls, and I picked up my bowl and my 2 bowls of soup, and it was delicious. And I wanted to thank everybody who was organizing that and running it. It's a big fundraiser, the yearly biggest fundraiser for Loaves and Fishes, and you can still give to them. They serve a ridiculous amount of meals. I think it was like $1,500 a month or something, or $5,200 a month if my memory serves. And just a wonderful organization. And you just go to their website and you can still give if you want, or go down for a meal, because every day they serve something. Also, because of the election, the Lion King will be starting at before our next meeting. And the Lion King Jr. will be playing at the Lansing Middle School. I highly recommend it. Rafiki is tremendous because I hear the songs daily in my household. So just going to recommend that show. So thank you very much.
Randy.
Thank you, Dan. Last Tuesday, the League of Women Voters had an event at the Enfield Grange, and it was for all the candidates who are running this year. Enfield Town Board has 2 seats, and there's 4 people running against them, and they ran a good event, a lot of good questions. It was structured well, and about 40-plus people came and listened to them. I think it's going to be a good race. And then the other 4 people running that are unopposed, we got a chance to make a statement and whatnot. I just want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Grange for putting it on and allowing us to come. So.
Any other legislators for privilege of the floor? Mike Lane.
Last weekend, 7 million people in this country stood up peaceably and walked in every single one of our states and said, no kings. America is not about kings. Despite the effort to paint this as a hate America rally by the opposition, it was peaceful. And I was very proud that the exercise of the First Amendment is very strong in this country. Ukraine, change topic a little bit, Ukraine is suffering still and has no idea what's going on with the American efforts to see if there could be peace over there. You've got 2 basic autocrats. One is Putin and the other is Donald Trump. Trying to outmaneuver one another on Ukraine. Ukraine is represented by an elected democracy. And we have, last week, well, maybe we'd give Ukraine some Tomahawk missiles to shoot at Russia. And Russia said, no, we don't want that, and Putin called up Trump and said, something to him, and guess what? Well, now we're going to have that, and now we're telling President Zelensky that you've got to give Russia the land that it's conquered so far. Whatever happened to supporting human rights? We used to talk so much about human rights. I don't hear that talked about at all anymore, certainly not from Washington. I don't know what's going to happen over there, but I don't like the way it sounds. I'm pleased about the potential peace in the Mideast, but I know that we should look at that with an understanding of the almost 3,000-year history of that area, and knowing that wars among the tribes, among the various countries are very common and have been. Let's hope it stops. But even after it was declared, we've seen people killed and airplane strikes over there. Let's keep our fingers crossed. we need to constantly say that America is in favor of democratic values. Some of the showmanship that we're seeing is absolutely astounding. When President Lincoln was assassinated, people started saying, well, we ought to have a memorial to him. When did they build the Lincoln Memorial? 50 years later. We take our time to do things. And what do we hear this week? Well, President Trump calls into the White House his oligarchs, the people who are going to fund his building projects that he can put his name on. And we're going to have an ark, like the Ark de Triomphe or the Ark of Titus. And we're going to have it near the Lincoln Memorial. And it's going to be paid for by these folks that were sitting around his lunch table and paying to play. And they'll build it. And he had 3 different sizes. He likes the big one, of course. And he told them that.
Is it gold?
Well, no, that's the ballroom that's going to go up. And by the way, the machinery was in there tearing down the parts of the White House, the East Room facade, today, I guess. And they were telling the people, the Treasury was telling people not to take any pictures of it being demolished. There's no question about deconstruction here. It's all demolition, quick and fast, and bring in the giant backhoes and just take it down. And we'll have a new ballroom that's going to be paid for by the oligarchs. And it's going to be lots of gold and white. And there's a bigger list out there. Trump has said that. We know there's going to be other things that are going to be built. And they aren't just going to be hotels and casinos. We have to continue to watch this. And it's not our American way.
Veronica.
I have 4 things. I'll try to be really quick. One, as people have mentioned, Election Day is in, I think, a couple weeks from today. And our legislature meeting has moved after that. So I'll say now, if you haven't noticed, there's a proposition on the ballot, Proposition 1, which has to do with land use around a snow sports facility up at Mount Van Hovenberg up in Essex County, which is way up in the Adirondacks near Vermont. The text of the proposition was frankly unreadable to my non-law trained eyes, but the Adirondack Council and a group called Protect Adirondacks have explainers online that I recommend people look up before you get in the voting booth and go, oh no, what's this? Second, I'm maybe slightly jumping the gun, but I'd like to announce that we are finally trying to award the Leslie McQueen Claiborne Strength and Diversity Award again. It has been awarded to Leslyn. This is just an award given by the, actually I don't remember if it officially comes from the legislature or from our Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee. But in any case, it's to recognize individuals, community groups, nonprofit organizations, and or businesses within the Tompkins County boundary that have demonstrated outstanding achievements, a sustained commitment to the pursuit of cultural diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and advocacy of basic civil and human rights in our community. So if that description brings anyone to mind for you, please nominate them. There's instructions, former alternative instructions on our website. If you just search for Strength and Diversity Award on the county website, or you click on anything that says diversity and follow sidebar links to the Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee, you will find it. Third, I said I'd be quick, but Charlene, thank you so much for everything you've done for our county. And thank you for challenging us with those questions. And could you please share them again? Because I didn't write them all down. Thank you. And finally, I've been at the GARE conference as well, and it's been great. One realization I had in a breakout room that it so happened that I don't think other legislators were in it at the time is, well, one theme that has come up so far is the importance of trust in relationships between people in and outside the government. And a subset of that is a lack of trust that various communities have in government, especially people like disenfranchised communities, like Indigenous people, like Black people, and especially the descendants of enslaved Africans here. So we talked about a lot how some communities don't trust the government for very reasonable reasons, like historically and now. But there's also another side, is that the government, including our government, does not really trust communities. I don't know that this comes up in like one-to-one conversation, but sort of like structurally in terms of who we ask to give us a bunch of information, or where we like are and are not okay being flexible or believing people about their stories and stuff. I think the lack of trust goes both ways, and I think that we need to work on that. And that's all.
Any other legislators for privilege of the floor? Okay, thank you, everybody. We are now up to reports. We're going to start with the report by our county administrator, Corsa Akumfi.
Waiting for your report first.
Oh, I'm going to skip it.
So first thing, thank you, Charlene, helping us look at things differently and challenge ourselves to think critically and bring different perspective to policies, programs, how government services are delivered, and the internal adjustment we all need to make to be able to reach people where they are and provide them with the resources and tools and things that they need to have a positive impact in their lives. So thank you for your contribution to how we function. And I think on behalf of the administration team, we will carry on your work. We will ask ourselves questions, and we commit to improve how we deliver government services to the benefit of as many people as possible. So thank you for your work, and thank you for challenging us as much as possible. The senior position, I just want to indicate, is posted on the website. We look forward to setting up a team. I'll reach out to all of you to see how we set up a team to go through the process. And we have learned so much over the last few years, and we hope to continue that work to improve processes. So I'm very excited as to what lies ahead of all of us. I'm also working with Human Resources to get the position that has been vacant almost all this year at Human Rights also posted. And we are also going to be engaging with all of you to make sure we're able to fill those positions to serve community need as well. We are in the last stretch of the budget process. We're very excited, and I've learned so much. And thank you all for those who reach out to me, ask me questions, and challenge me in my perspective and the way we look at things. And I'll be coming back to you with requests of information as to how the process went, what we can improve, how we can make it effective and efficient, and to bring about better engagement next year as we look at improving the process. So thank you for all the feedback, and the knock on my head has been good. And it's making me also look at things differently, and I appreciate that a lot, so thank you.
Any questions or comments for the county administrator? Next up, County Attorney Maury Josephson.
I do not have a specific report or update tonight. I also want to thank Charlene. Charlene was probably the first person I dealt with a fair amount at the county because she was in that middle office between the county attorney's office and county administration. And, you know, just about every day, Charlene was in the office with a kind word in addition to all the work she does. So it's been, even when we've butted heads, it's been a pleasure. And other than that, nothing specific to add. However, if you have any questions or if I'm called upon to speak on any of the issues tonight, I will be happy to.
Questions or comments for the county attorney? Randy.
Maury, I've had a couple instances, lucky me, of people who have been dealing with towing companies. And I've been speaking to various tow companies and people who've interacted with tow companies about how they can get their cars back and how much they can charge. And I know the city has a local law related, or maybe it's not a law, it's some type of guidance on what they can charge for towing and what they charge for storage. Well, the county doesn't have that. So, and it's my understanding that the county, somebody from the county has been meeting with various tow companies, and maybe it's through the sheriffs or EMS or whatever it is, to do some type of similar restriction on how much they can charge, how much they can charge for towing. And then how the process of them being certified to be somebody who we send them notifications, their turn to pick up somebody. And that's how it works right now through the EMS system, is it's a rotating list, and who has ever won, it goes to the bottom list and it starts over again. So that's how the county's doing it now. So is there any discussion about a contract with these tow companies, or is it just somebody can charge what they want to charge and they can charge as much as they want per day for storage? And that's my question.
The email that you sent around was the first time that the issue had come to my attention at all. And I saw Mike Steitley's email in response, which basically indicates that tow companies in the county outside of the city are basically unregulated. I would be happy to look into the parameters of what sorts of regulations can be imposed, and whether there are any state requirements that either aren't being followed or that could limit our ability to do so. I tend to think not. I tend to think that we could add that as an area of regulation to address some of those concerns, and I can report back to you on that at our next meeting. Just give you the a general sense of what can be done, and see if it's the desire of the legislature or of any committee to take that up.
Yeah, I only brought it up because I had a second person. I don't know how they got my name, but they called me and it was in my district. So that's how I think that happened. And I'm not saying that tow companies are doing anything incorrectly. It's just that there's no real regulations on, they can charge $50 a day, $100 a day to storage stow vehicles, or they can be really expensive for some people that can't afford it. So thanks.
I'm happy to look at that.
Any other questions or comments for the county attorney? Next up, Darrell Tuttle, Director of Finance.
Good evening. I don't have an official report, but I do have an update. Just wanted to update the legislature on the real property tax foreclosure process. Earlier this month, on October 1st, we filed the foreclosure proceedings and sent out notices for 123 properties. Of those 123, 50 were residential and 73 were vacant or commercial. Now, as of today, we already have entered into 65 installment agreements with taxpayers to avoid that. Now, to compare this to last year, 2024, we sent notice to 44 residential and 53 vacant and commercial, but ended up only going to auction of 4 of each. And in 2024, we only did 22 installments. So our installments have tripled, and the amount of properties we've had to send notice out has increased as well. But my office does well, and we'll keep notifying the public and bring that number down.
Questions or comments for the Director of Finance? Deborah.
Well, I just wonder if we could infer anything about the economy from the jump in the number of properties and the installment agreements.
The installment agreements has a little to do with the change in the real property tax law, which allows an installment to be offered right away rather than right before it goes to foreclosure. As to the, apologies, as to the economy, I do think it kind of shows a little bit that it's becoming harder for people to pay their tax bills.
Any other questions for the Finance Director? Okay, thank you. Need to go half a step back in the agenda, which I skipped the chair's appointment. We have one chair's appointment tonight to the Workforce Development Board, Brittany Earle, Key Community Partner, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Representative. Okay, going forward again in the agenda, we're up to number 10, resolutions to be added to or withdrawn from the agenda. Amanda.
Yeah, I would like, actually, I'd like to do both. I would like to add the resolution that Shauna wrote. She had to go to a thing for her family. And this is the resolution pausing the relocation of Tompkins County Office for the Aging until further review and public feedback are completed.
Okay, that's resolution V. It's in your red folders. It will need 10 votes to be added to the agenda. It needs to be seconded. Veronica seconds. Any discussion? Okay, ready to vote then to add it to the agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? One opposed. Passes? Okay, that passes. Thank you. Ann?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't bring this up when regarding reordering of business, but I know we have some staff here from planning. I think we also have somebody here from the Board of Elections. Just wondering if it would be helpful or if it would make sense to reorder any resolutions.
Thank you. I would like to, the resolution we just added, V, I would like to move that up. Are there other ones you're suggesting?
Well, we have some folks from planning. Are you here for T? Is it T and U?
T and U? We can do that. Were there any other resolutions to be moved around? Amanda?
I also wanted to withdraw Resolution H under Health and Human Services Committee.
So Amanda, you can do that, and it would require 10 votes, or the committee chair can do it unilaterally.
Okay. Okay. Are you going to do that?
Yes.
Okay, he can do that.
So Travis, you're withdrawing Resolution H?
Yes, I'm going to withdraw Resolution H. We had worked it out with the department for an outside agency to do the program.
Very good. Thank you. So Resolution H is off the agenda. Okay, we are moving then to the consent agenda. I will read the resolutions and the appointments, and if anybody wants to pull any of them off, just speak up as I say them. We'll start with the appointments, though. From Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee to the County Planning Advisory Board, Tom Knipe, Transportation Representative. And also from Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality to the County Planning Advisory Board, David Herrick, Infrastructure and Utilities Representative, Christine O'Malley, Cultural Historic Preservation Representative, David Kay, Local Urban Planning Representative, and Jordan Decker, Energy Representative. Then we've got Resolution A.
Let's remove A.
Resolution A has been pulled. Resolution B, from the Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee, approval of revised climate and sustainable energy case advisory board bylaws. ID number 13622. Resolution C, making a negative determination of environmental significance in relation to the proposed reroutes to the Dryden Caroline Drifters C2B Snowmobile Trail, ID number 13604. Resolution D, making a negative determination of environmental significance in relation to the proposed reroutes to the Dryden Caroline Drifters C2C Snowmobile Trail, ID number 13605. Resolution E, making a negative determination of environmental significance in relation to the proposed reroutes to the Dryden Caroline Drifters S21 Snowmobile Trail, ID number 13607. Resolution F, making a negative determination of environmental significance in relation to the proposed establishment of the Dryden Caroline Drifters S25 Snowmobile Trail, ID number 13608. From the Health and Human Services Committee, Resolution G, budget adjustment, multiple budgeting units, whole health department, ID number 13581. And Resolution I, budget adjustment, Rural Health Institute of New York, RHI, whole health department, ID number 13611. Can someone move the consent agenda, please? Greg moves, Deborah seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Let us do resolutions T and U. I think probably will go quickly. So that's from Facilities and Infrastructure Committee, Lee Shurtleff, Chair. Tell you what, Lee, should I give you a minute to yeah, okay. So scratch that. Let's go to Resolution V, which was added to the agenda. And some people are waiting for that. So, how do we move it then? Okay. Does somebody want to move that? Amanda moves. Is there a second? Travis seconds. Discussion. Amanda.
Sure. Let's see. So we've heard some public comment, and we've had plenty of emails, and we've had this question about our purchasing the property out at Dutch Mill Road. And this isn't a question about whether we should purchase that property. It's more about wanting to have further conversation about what departments should be there. The COFA advisory board and other folks have, suggested and indicated that they were not consulted. I think this legislature generally tries to include people and boards and all the stakeholders when we make a decision. So essentially, this resolution is just asking that we pause on deciding if the Office for the Aging is the right department to move up to Dutch Mill, considering all the things that we've been talking about in terms of, transportation access, how it's going to affect the department, all of these things, and take another look at which departments should really be moving up there. Maybe I'll stop there, and if other folks have things to say.
Rich, then Mike Sigler.
Yeah, I'm inclined to support this, so we make sure we're thinking through this question. But I had a question about timeline on the center of government. What impact might this have if there's an extended delay? Of course, if I can put you on the spot.
I think where we are right now is we need to move the pieces of our agency from the deconstruction site. We have some IT infrastructure over there that has to be able to move, and it was a bit difficult trying to schedule that, but they cannot move that until all those two agencies are moved out. So I believe it will disrupt our timeline a bit based on where we are and how we are planning things. And based on the language of the resolution, I think it requires the county administration to take specific actions and report back to the legislature to be discussed and given direction. So it doesn't just give us a 30 days extension of time, but it gives us 30 days to decide what to do next after that 30 days. So it's difficult to constitute that into our planning in terms of the exact timeline, how that will impact. So I cannot directly say, but I don't know which pieces of the action we're going to take within the 30 days outside the COFA processes in terms of Board of Elections or assessment and all of that. So it's difficult to give a direct answer how that will impact, but absolutely it will have an impact in our planning process.
I mean, with that in mind, I guess the resolve that's talking about public feedback process, including public meetings, conversation with the advisory board and stakeholder consultations, gather input from COFA clients, staff, community partners, and transportation providers. This could go on for a really long time. And I'm not sure we want to totally derail the timeline that we took a tremendous amount of effort to build. Is there a way we could amend this resolution to put a hard stop on it? I mean, I think those are all good things to do, but we prevent a lot of other activity going forward. And I guess I'd be interested in, Randy, your position as the chair of the downtown facilities. What would this do to the process? If you're able to say.
Yes, Randy.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. I think course is correct. It's gonna slow things down a little bit. I don't think that it's gonna slow down any construction timing. It would slow down the deconstruction timing. I don't think the plan for doing construction was till we're a year from now, so I don't think that would affect that at all related to that. Regarding this resolution, that is a lot to accomplish in 30 days. My position is that I don't think we should move the COFA at all until we move them to the new building that we're building. And I think that the Board of Elections, we should find a place for them and move them once until they move to the new location. It could be 4 years from now, 5 years from now. Who knows when that's going to happen. And I think that looking for a place for the Board of Elections that would also house all their machines is not a good idea, because those places are few and far between to find. And I think that that's where Dutch Mill should come in place, and all the machines should be going up there, and a training center put up there. And that would fill that need. And that's what I think should happen.
Okay, on Resolution V, to pause for 30 days the COFA process. Mike Sigler.
So I'm not going to vote for this unless it has something attached that Randy just said. Because to me, this isn't really a choice between moving COFA. It really, again, comes down to the Board of Elections. I mean, we needed a place to put the Board of Elections. And if you don't want to move COFA, that's fine, but we still need a place for the Board of Elections. And if we're so sold on keeping it in the city, then I don't, we tried that already, and we didn't come up with a good solution except for this. And when people say we didn't consult anybody, I'm like, we did. Correct me if I'm wrong, we asked the director of COFA if this would be a possibility, and I seem to remember the response being, yes, we could accommodate that. That to me is give and take. I mean, if that person had said, no, that actually will damage us, and then I don't think we'd be where we are today. But I could support something that Randy just said. I mean, Otherwise, yeah, we're in for months of this. That's why I voted for this, Greg, was because I think, yeah, I mean, we have an option, we have a choice here to make. I'd rather make it tonight than kicking the can, so.
Greg.
You know, sometimes in government, we have to make tough choices, and sometimes not everyone will be happy with those choices, but sometimes those choices are the best possible choice for us to make at that moment. I believe this is the best possible choice. I think we heard—
I'm sorry, which is the best possible?
To move COFA. I'm speaking against the resolution. I think for a few reasons. I think the Board of Elections serves a far greater number of people, and its location and building that the COFA space currently occupies is well suited for their needs. And it's a big financial impact to keep the machines and the board staff together, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's the right place right now for the Board of Elections. I also think that, again, and this is not to forget about seniors, it's not to, you know, put seniors out into Lansing, which many seniors live in Lansing and Groton and Dryden, Trumansburg and Enfield and Newfield and all the other places that aren't the city of Ithaca. But I also think we have one of the most willing departments to meet people where they are. And that's actually how I think we should be servicing our seniors. Not by putting a pop-up in the center of the county and say, come on down if you need services, but why don't we go to our seniors? Why don't we meet people who have mobility issues where they need to be met and make sure that they have services provided there? I'm going to refer back to a email that we got earlier today from our county administrator. And if you indulge me for just a moment. The director of COFA has stated that COFA will continue to provide quality service to its high standards, no matter the location of its physical office. The drawbacks to Dutch Mill Road have been cited, along with the acknowledgement of a lack of proximity to other service assessed by our aging population, accessed. However, COFA leadership and staff have indicated the steps that they will take together with county administration to ensure services remain accessible and that clients are supported in accessing other necessary services despite the change in location. We want to assure you and the community that the department remains fully committed to meeting the evolving needs of our aging population. This includes adapting all creative and practical measures to ensure that no one is left behind in the transition. We are exploring and implementing strategies to maintain accessibility, enhance service delivery wherever possible. I think we've made a strong statement that we're not going to leave anybody behind. We're not going to have seniors that can't access services. And right now, this is the best decision we have to make. And I think to delay it even further, if we come to the same conclusion, are people going to be satisfied? No, they're still going to be upset. If you're upset now, you're going to be upset in 30 days. So I think we have to rip the Band-Aid and we have to make the decision and we have to continue with the timeline we set forward. The idea that people weren't consulted, no, were they consulted 30 days in advance? No, but people were consulted. Let's be honest. So I think that we need to not pass this resolution. We need to put this to bed and we need to move forward with the direction we set. We've had too many grenades lobbed at the process that are just slowing us down, and we need to continue the momentum that we have.
Mike Lane.
I'll support this resolution. I would like it with some suggested change, as Rich has talked about, some kind of a hard stop on it, because we can't do it forever. But you know, I'm not convinced that we have looked at all the options of could there be other departments that went up there instead of COFA, and COFA could still stay downtown in some of our office space. I think that's a real possibility. And I think, you know, we moved COFA from the courthouse, the main courthouse, to that location at where it is now, the Human Services Annex. a few years ago, and it was a major leap forward for that department. Now we think we need that space more for Board of Elections. We've decided that. But, you know, maybe there's some less front-facing departments that could move up to Dutch Mill rather than to move COFA up there. I have some in mind. I'm not going to speak about it at this point, but we've seen county administration step up here and move to office space in the mental health building. We've seen our human resources department move over there as well, and that's been difficult for all of them. They're not right in the center of our campus the way they used to be. But I don't think that taking another look at this is a bad thing, and I don't think it's we need to rip the Band-Aid off, if that's the metaphor we're going to use here. I think we should think about the sensibilities of our senior population, which is only growing.
Deborah.
Yeah, so I'm a senior. My problem with this is, if we agree that we're going to hold off and take input, I can guarantee you the only input we're going to get is going to be negative, because people aren't going to come and say, yay, let's change things. That's not how human nature works. So if we pass this resolution, are we creating an expectation that we're going to change our mind? And when I think about changing our mind and finding some other way to do this, there just aren't a whole heck of a lot of options. We must keep the Board of Elections downtown by law. We want to keep COFA downtown. We don't have choices, really. And I think that administration has tried to make the best choice under the circumstances, given the pushback we got on the Board of Elections. Every time you make a suggestion, you're going to get pushback. And the other piece of this that I simply don't understand is where we got the idea that just because someone is a senior, they can't drive a car. I can remember hearing for years complaints from people about how difficult it was to visit COFA where it is now because the parking situation is so problematic. And I have to say, the only parking ticket I ever got in Tompkins County was when I went to something at COFA. So as much as I appreciate that the advisory board is upset about this because they don't feel that they had enough input, I can't support this.
Ann.
Yeah, I think we have had a lot of input. Maybe folks want to give more input, but I've had a lot of input. I've reached out to different organizations. We've gotten a lot of input already. So, I mean, years ago, the health department used to be at the old Biggs building on the other side of Ithaca. And then it was moved over there. I mean, there's families, single parents with kids trying to lug their kids up there, and it's not easy to get to up there. Yeah, there is a bus, but it's still very hard to get to. And so by law, we need to keep, by the law says we need to keep the Board of Elections down here. I'm probably not going to vote for this, but if we are going to consider something, I would want this streamlined, that we're going to just have a public forum like we would do for any other big decision that we're doing. I mean, we pass laws and we have a public forum. It depends on what it is. Sometimes we reach out, but the public is aware of this. So if anything, I'd want a public forum, and then let's decide. And then I would also want in here any department that we are considering moving, and then let's make the decision after that public forum. Not then another department, if we decide not to do the county office for the aging, then another department gets, when does that department come up? When do we figure that out? And then at another meeting, 2 weeks later or a month later, then we do this. And we heard that in the downtown facilities, we need to keep going with the deconstruction because of the weather. So it's not something that we can just say, oh, keep delaying that 30 days and then 30 days. So the deconstruction might not be able to be done this year because of weather. So there are certain things that can get delayed. So I would just like us to make it fair, and let's get going, make a decision.
Travis.
As someone that's thrown a few grenades, I struggle with this because we've had conversations. Things seem to be okay. I realize some folks may not have been talked to. But one of the reasons I ran was this idea that county services could be done different, and we really could meet people where they're at if we were creative. And I look at what Whole Health is doing, and it's really exciting when I look at what's happening up there. Sometimes through adversity, you create programs and you create opportunities to do things different. And if COFA's committed to meeting seniors where they're at, going to the homes of seniors, I think that's an amazing thing. And whether we were moving them or not, to switch to that framework and to decide that that's the best way forward for our senior population is the best thing for our senior population. Whether you drive, whether you take the bus, whether you walk, having staff come to you, it doesn't get any better than that for the senior population. So the only way I could support this, and earlier I thought I could support it as it was, is if there's a really tight time frame. I have issues with the center of government. I understand that we're moving forward. So I'm not going to try to disrupt that by delaying this process, but things have to get done. So if there is an agreed amount of time to where we let folks come in and share and speak their mind, whether we change ours or not, I think that's appropriate because we do need to hear from the community. They do need to feel like they have the opportunity to talk to us. But that window has to be really tight for me to support it. As it stands, I can't support this.
I'm going to take a turn, and then Rich, you're next. I just want to say that the resolution does say 30 days. I mean, there is a timeline in it, so I'm not clear. A few people said that. And if what happens is after 30 days or whatever amount of time, if no action's taken, then the current resolution stands, which moves COFA to Lansing. So in other words, inaction on our part would result in COFA moving to Lansing anyway. So with all that in mind, is there several people mentioned changes they would like to see in the resolution to tighten up the timeline? Is there an amendment, anyone that wants to propose? Rich.
Yeah, and unfortunately I don't have exact wording, but I think there are several good suggestions made here. I like the idea of a public forum at our next meeting, or a public hearing, if we could have that at the beginning and let people come in and speak to this exact issue. And that the 30 days becomes a hard deadline, that if we do not pass a further resolution, then the default is that COFA will move.
Right, that was my point. If COFA is moving, we already passed that resolution. So unless we pass something different,
yeah, I think
we're all set.
This resolution makes that question ambiguous, so I think we should be clear on it, that if we do not act within 30 days, the status quo proceeds.
Maury?
Yeah, it says, the way it's written now, it says that we pause all planning and relocation activities. So that would need to be clarified if there isn't a further resolution within some period of time.
I see. Okay, Rich, was there an amendment in there?
Yeah, I'd like to add that we have a public forum hearing at our next legislature meeting, and that it's clear that if no further resolution is passed at the legislature, the status quo proceeds. know if I got a second.
Just a second, I want to make sure that we have the rough wording.
If no further resolutions passed, we'll proceed.
I'll pull the verbiage for a public hearing for the next meeting, and I'll get that sent out tomorrow morning to the newspaper. If no further resolutions passed, we'll proceed with the resolution, and I'll look up the resolution number, the original resolution.
Yeah.
Does that capture it?
Yes.
Okay, we need a second on that on the motion to amend. Amanda? Thank you. Okay, discussion on the amendment. Amanda?
Well, I was going to try to amend it further. And just to say, so instead of 30 days, whatever the date of that second legislature meeting in November. So,
November 6th.
November 6th.
no, because that's our next meeting, right?
The 18th,
Yeah, so.
November 18th.
So we would hold a public hearing at our next meeting, and if no action is taken by November 18th meeting, we revert back to.
That's friendly. That's
Yeah.
friendly, yeah.
Okay, is there anyone that's opposed to the amendment being added?
The amendment to the amendment was friendly.
Yes, but I'm check.
Okay.
If anyone objects, then we vote on it. Good? Okay, Amanda.
Okay, so then I was also going to make an amendment to take out that first resolved. And actually the second resolved and the third resolved, because those are all kind of like, we've changed what we're resolving. And then, so I would move to take those three resolves out.
I'm still friendly. It's a very friendly meeting so far.
And then, I don't know if we want to put this in or not, but suggest to our COFA advisory board and the COFA department to, I mean, they already have started getting the word out, but to utilize them to put the word out. So the onus is on, folks to gather any other information that they want and bring that to us versus asking our county administration to spend a lot of time reaching out to stakeholders. I mean, I do think the word is getting out that this is what we're considering. So
you're also proposing that as an amendment to ask COFA and the advisory committee to spread the word about this?
Yes.
I don't know if that needs to be in the resolution.
Well, maybe it doesn't, but.
Yeah. I'd leave it out.
That's
okay,
fine.
So Katrina, are you able to tell us where we're at?
We removed the first three resolve statements, and we are going to add a resolve statement setting a public hearing on the 6th of November. And we're going to add a resolve statement that if no further resolutions passed, or no further action is taken by 11/18, we will proceed with the original resolution.
Okay. So that is the main motion. Maury?
So as to distinguish it from an official public hearing.
Is that acceptable to all the members?
Yes.
Okay. That takes away your requirement to notify the public? Or?
I think it would, but do we still want that noticed in the paper?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just make sure that the notice says public forum instead of public hearing.
Do we have a paper? Just kidding.
Mike Sigler.
Greg, don't even start.
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, if this does pass, I would like the legislators who have other ideas on what department to move.
Yeah.
They should come forward with those. Mike Lane said he had several options. I would be curious to hear those before, the public forum.
Yeah.
I second that.
Right. As a reminder, somebody would have to do a resolution to change it. So yes, we do need to hear those ideas at some point if they exist. Okay, further discussion on the amended resolution. Veronica.
The amendments make it better, thanks. I support this as well, and I think I'm kind of confused by the, people have brought up different ideas, but the idea that like moving COFA is definitely the best option and that we've considered everything and we've like heard all the input we're gonna hear, because it seems abundantly clear that a lot of people with a stake in the location of the Office for the Aging hadn't been heard at all in the original discussion. And I know that I'm not privy to all the the research and discussion that y'all staff have done, but I mean, I guess I certainly don't feel like despite having, I guess, voted for that previous resolution, I'm now realizing I am woefully underinformed on the potential alternatives and the ramifications of moving COFA. So I think it's important to take this time and not worth amending the resolution, but I do agree with everyone else who said like, come up with other ideas, or let's like consider other departments moving there or whatever other shuffling, because we don't want to be going through this one department at a time indefinitely. But yeah, I think more feedback is more than warranted. I had another thought that I'm forgetting. I think there's also, I hear a little bit of the like, people say that the problem with COFA is that you can't park, but now other people are saying the problem with moving it is that you have to drive. And I guess my response to all of that would be like, yes, I'm sure there are people visiting COFA who like just cannot get there reasonably if there's not parking. And I'm sure there's people visiting COFA who cannot get there if taking a car is required. That makes sense. People vary. If COFA bringing all their services to people where they are is an option, then that is great. It's not clear to me that it is like universally. But I guess that's something that I will learn in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the resolution, and that's what we're going to be voting on first. Is everyone clear what we're voting on?
I thought it was friendly.
I thought it was friendly.
The amendments were friendly, but we haven't voted on the amendment. Am I correct?
The amendments to the amendments were friendly, but yes.
Are the amendments
Do you want to just check if the original amendment was friendly?
Yeah, it was friendly to me.
Who was the seconder?
Meant to be talking about the resolution.
Were you the seconder?
It was Amanda.
Yeah, it was friendly to me.
Okay, is there anyone that objects to the amendment turning into the main motion? Okay, very good. So that does become the main motion. Thank you, thank you. Anyone, so we're going to get ready to vote. Does anyone need clarification on what we're voting on? Do we want a roll call vote on this one?
Mr. Mezzi would.
Yes, that's why I was looking at it. Okay, roll call vote.
Deborah Dawson.
No.
Rich John.
Yes.
Ann Corman.
No.
Mike Lane.
Yes.
Greg Mezzi.
No.
Dan Nolan.
No.
Veronica Pillar.
Yes.
Lee Shartliff.
No.
Mike Sigler.
No.
Travis Brooks.
Yes.
Randy Brown.
Yes.
Amanda Champion.
Yes.
Dan Klein.
Yes. Motion fails 7-6.
Really? Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, we're going to go to Resolution T now from the Facilities and Infrastructure Committee. Lee Shartliff.
Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
Resolution T, reversal of 2025 expanded budget committee action to reserve contingent fund allocations for Gadabout Geothermal and Geographic Information System, GIS employee positions. And it was, went through Public Facilities and Infrastructure on October 16th. ID number 13638. So moved.
Is there a second? Randy seconds. Discussion.
There were 3 items, $85,000 for Gadabout, $250,000 for potential geothermal investment, and $94,371 incorporated into last year 2025 county budget reserved in contingency. There's no expected use of those funds for 2025. This releases them back to the fund unencumbered.
Thank you. Further discussion? Ready to vote then? Resolution T, all in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Resolution U, Monroe Balancing Test Whole Health Solar Array, also acted upon at Facilities and Infrastructure, ID number 13646. And Terry Carroll and Megan McDonald are with us tonight. If we have questions, this revisits the solar array project that has been pending at Whole Health. And some of you may recall that in reviewing and moving forward on the project, it's not in compliance with Village of Lansing zoning requirements due to the height restrictions. And Terry and Megan have come forward with resolution put together in discussions between Cornell University as the ground owner, Tompkins County, and the Village of Lansing. And I would invite Terry, if he would like to comment, as to the application of the Monroe balancing test in this to move the project forward. And again, this for this to occur and to receive the federal tax credits that are currently in place and available, this needs to move.
We needed a second. Greg seconds.
Yeah, I think Lee hit it spot on. The reason why we're pushing this forward kind of at this pace is to guarantee that we're able to pursue the tax credits, which are going to be worth roughly $300,000 to the county. We've had conversations with Cornell, with the village. The village is amenable to this. They're excited to see this happen. I don't know that they're necessarily excited about the Monroe balancing test, but they are excited about the actual solar array itself. And so this is what we need in order to move the project forward. It's a requirement of the ground lease that Cornell is asking for. So I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have.
Questions or comments for Terry or any other discussion? Deborah?
Yeah, it's true that the village is not terribly excited about the Monroe balancing test, but the village understands that you're under a time crunch and hopes that in the future we can do this differently, because the village does have no objection to the project itself. So thank you.
Randy.
Yes, Terry, when do you hope this project would start, and when would it be completed?
Yeah, so if this resolution passes today, we have a letter that's been drafted that's been shared with the village, shared with Cornell for comments. We're hopeful that once that's ironed out, the letter will be sent by the village to Cornell, and that will then enable us to proceed to give our contractor the green light to get started. And then we're hoping to start digging the post holes for the foundation in November.
Thank you.
Mike Lane.
Yeah, I spoke about this several times at F&I. Would have rather seen us move this project, say, to the airport or somewhere else. Once we were told that they had discovered this issue with Cornell and the Village of Lansing. I'm going to vote for this tonight, but I want people to understand that we are not in a situation. We're not generally required to follow the zoning of junior municipalities unless it's not for a project which is generally for the public, we need to be very, very careful in what we're doing here. And we need to understand this is solely because of this issue that we have a ground lease with Cornell University, and they had some understanding with the village that things would go through village planning. It's troublesome. There is some history a long time ago with Village of Lansing and the old airport restaurant up there that still is a little sore subject. I realize that people have changed a lot since that in both the village and in the county. But we must be careful in these situations. We went through quite a battle with the town of Ithaca one time over simply putting an addition on our public works department. And we must understand that we are the larger municipality, just like the state can do things in Tompkins County that we don't have any objection, that we can't really object to.
Any other discussion? Ready to vote on Resolution U? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Terry. Okay, we are going back now to the beginning of the Standing and Special Committee. Motions and reports. Government Operations Committee, Amanda Champion, Chair.
I think you should wait. Thank you. So just a reminder about government operations. We did take a picture a couple of months ago of everyone in the committee wearing their teal blue clothing, and because we have the best team spirit, I do have a copy of the picture if you would like proof of our team spirit. And that's my report.
Questions or comments for Amanda?
Go team.
Mike Lane.
I just want to say thanks to Amanda. Those kind of things shows that we're all human, and having a smile over wearing a similar outfit is a good thing.
Thanks. I do have some resolutions. Resolution J is the appointment of a Republican election commissioner for 2026-2027.
Is there a second? Lee seconds. Discussion.
I would just say that we would be appointing Alana Congdon, who has served for a couple years now, and we appreciate her work, and this passed unanimously at the committee.
Any further discussion? Mike Sigler.
I just want to say I was very happy when Alana took the role, and she's done just a tremendous job, I think, down there. Certainly has built a very strong team, which frankly benefits everybody, not just one party or the other party. But, you know, it doesn't matter what party you are. If you go and talk to Alana, she will tell you how to run for office, what needs to be done, what the deadlines are, and what some of the limitations are. And and I like the fact that Alana will go even to other counties and ask other boards of elections, you know, how do they do it to kind of improve how we may do it or improve how the other county may do that. So I think she's really taken control of her role at the Board of Elections. So I'm very happy that she's gotten this.
Very good. Any other discussion? Ready to vote on Resolution J? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Resolution K, the correction of tax roll for Trumansburg School District.
Is there a second? Randy seconds. Deborah.
So I just want to clarify something, because apparently there are exemptions on almost $5.5 million worth, or pilot exemptions on almost $5.5 million worth of property in the Trumansburg School District. And it's my understanding that these exemptions, These pilots are not IDA pilots. They are state
That's
pilots.
correct.
I just want to be sure before everybody gets upset with the IDA over this, because we got nothing to do with this. Thank you.
New York State, called New York State.
Speaking on behalf of the IDA, Rich.
Yes, the IDA is not to blame. This is a new housing development in Trumansburg that is really a success, and that it's getting affordable housing into that community. And it just, because of the pilot comes under state legislation, it wasn't picked up by the assessment department. So all we're doing is fixing it. There was not a situation where it was in the tax base in prior years and is going away. It shouldn't have been added.
Any further discussion? Ready to vote on Resolution K? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next up, Health and Human Services Committee, Travis Brooks, Chair.
We met last week. I think we had a pretty good meeting. We had a bunch of resolutions to go through. Veterans Affairs gave their report. I think it was really well done. It was very informative. Brittany and crew came to talk about these SNAP benefit challenges that are coming up with the work program. Potentially, it can affect 1,700 people in the county. It doesn't mean that 1,700 people will be affected. I think the biggest challenge is DSS having to staff up and kind of move things around so staff can contact people and go through all the motions. And then we'll meet again in 3 weeks.
Questions or comments for Travis? Okay, thank you. Housing and Economic Development Committee, Greg Mezzi, Chair.
Thanks. I think I had Resolution A withdrawn from the consent agenda, so I'll take up the resolutions first. I'd like to move Resolution A, Doc ID 13561, Budget Adjustment Tompkins County Workforce Development, New Grant Acceptance Youth Employment Program.
Is there a second? And seconds.
This is through the New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance. They award the county workforce development an additional $354,533 to extend the summer youth employment program to help reduce community gun violence and youth criminal justice involvement by providing year-round employment opportunities.
Randy.
Yeah, I saw this poll. I pulled this because I was a little curious about it. So would this program all go through the Ithaca Youth Bureau like the current Youth Employment Service program is done?
No, this is administered through, my understanding, through the County Office of Workforce Development. They administer this, and these funds are specifically for City of Ithaca and Town of Ithaca.
Kate, if you want to come on.
Sorry, Kate.
Kate Shanks Booth, Director of County Youth Services. Come on up to a microphone. Thank you.
Thanks for bailing me out.
Yeah, so these grants, this is tied to the GIVE grant, and last year it was just the county department that ran it. This year, the Ithaca Youth Bureau and the county department will be splitting the funds. I'm not sure how, but it's focused on the town and the city of Ithaca.
Town and city, because that's what's included in the sort of GIVE boundaries. When I was talking with the Director of Workforce Development, Chris Pond, he did mention that if there were, special cases and things, that there are some flexibilities for people in other communities that may be predisposed to these type of, I don't know the right way to say this, folks. I'm sorry, I'm struggling right now, but just youth that may be predisposed to gun violence or participation in the criminal justice system. So it could be somebody from out of school that maybe attends school in the city of Ithaca. There's some flexibility for other parts of the community, but mostly it's for the city and the town of Ithaca youth.
Travis, then Randy.
So one of the cool things is that there's a yurt meeting once a month where all the folks that do summer employment all get together. And so one of the things they'll do is they'll take a work program like this and say, okay, we could take kids from Lansing and move them over into this program, kids from Newfield and move them into this program because we can fund their work experience through this program. So it creates a lot of options to be able to shuffle young people around to bring as many people into summer work experiences as possible. They do a really good job with that. So it does benefit all kids because you can move people from different funding sources. So everybody, it creates more opportunities for more young people.
I can tell you as an side note, as an employer who had the benefit of working with Travis and his organization to host a student not involved in this program, but just to have a student there and to have the flexibility of their wages being covered and the flexibility to allow them to explore different things while they were there was really impactful as an employer. So I think that this goes to serve both the youth and those individuals, but I also think as an employer it helps one, provide an extra set of hands, another mind, another perspective, and it lets you not sort of worry about the financial implications of bringing on one more person. So I think these type of programs for our youth are incredibly beneficial to our community, not just for youth development, but for the benefits that they do ultimately bring to the employers as well.
Randy.
Yeah, this is really good news. I think it's great. Hopefully the funding continues for more than 1 year for that. But I think I read that if we didn't do the GIVE program, we would not have gotten this funding. Is that correct?
So this funding is because we participate in the GIVE program, separate from how we spend our GIVE dollars, but participation in the GIVE program allows us to be eligible to receive this funding.
Thank you.
Okay, Resolution A, any further discussion? Ready to vote then? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
I also have Resolution L, if you give me just a moment while my screen catches up.
Those of us who have paper already have it.
Yeah. One less tree in the world, Dan. One less tree in the world. All right, where are we at? Okay, L. Resolution L, Doc ID 13568, award Fall 2025 Community Celebrations Grant, and I would move.
Is there a second? Mike Lane seconds.
This is was passed unanimously by members who voted at the committee. Mike Sigler had asked to be recused from this vote, and Mike, I give you the opportunity.
I would like to continue to be recused from this vote.
Okay.
Very good.
It's a work thing. I work for Park Outdoor Advertising. If any of these guys want to advertise, I want to be cleared to have them do that.
Thank you for stating that and stating it so clearly.
This is one of the ways that our tourism and county room tax dollars support quality of life throughout the community. And you can see a wide range from the village of Groton, Ithaca, Enfield, Dryden, and Newfield participating in the community celebrations this round.
Any further discussion? Ready to vote on Resolution L? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. 13-1, the motion carries. Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution M, Doc ID 13569, award of Fall 2025 Tourism Advancement Grants, and I would move.
Veronica seconds. Discussion.
Same situation. This was passed unanimously by members of the committee with Legislator Sigler asking to be recused, so I'd give him the opportunity to recuse himself again.
Same reason.
Very good.
Great. If one of the things I wanted to point out in here, and I pointed out on the at our committee meeting, was that the Hammerstone School, which is a school intended to promote the carpentry trade amongst women in our community and from surrounding communities. I thought it was really neat to see, because they've recently done several classes and things that have brought people here to Tompkins County to be a part of their workshops and educational programming. So it's neat to see something that I would say maybe is a non-traditional to what we historically have seen in these type of awards. So shout out to them for doing really interesting work and for bringing people into the county, and hopefully they continue to grow along with many other members on this list: the Trumansburg Conservatory, the Science Center, the Downtown Business Improvement District, the Shakespeare Company, Ithaca Festival, etc.
Any further discussion on Resolution M? Ready to vote then? All in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 13 and 1 abstention.
I have nothing additional to report other than our next meeting will be November 5th, Wednesday, here in the chambers at 3 p.m.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Greg? Okay, next up, Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee. Ann Corman, Chair.
Thank you, Dan. Our committee met Tuesday, October 14th at 1 p.m. And a couple of things to note. We had extensive presentations from our planning department on 2 of the areas of their work. One was the natural resources and agricultural work that they do. And the other one was their 2025, their county community energy sustainability work presentation. And so I encourage, this starts about, if you want to go watch it on Zoom, it starts about 5 minutes in. So I encourage all legislators and legislators to take a look at that. What the planning department has been doing over the course of many meetings over the summer and into the fall is going over and presenting a lot of in-depth information about their different work areas. So please take a look at that. And let's see what else. We had a report and discussion from CNS companies who are working on the Sustainable Airport Master Plan. So again, take a look at that. I believe that's, my notes here say it's about 55 minutes into the meeting. And so again, I won't say too many details, but please take a look at that. And I wanted to also talk about, I have mentioned before that the committee was working on a possible ban for the county on biosolids spreading. And just to give you just a brief refresher. And so what that is the solids that are left over after the treatment at wastewater treatment plants, where does that go? And in some states and municipalities, including New York State, sometimes it's spread on farms and other areas such as sometimes schools, sometimes golf courses. It's also sometimes packaged to be able to use the carbon that's in it to use as packaged as fertilizer that you can actually buy in bags in the stores. I'm not sure if it's available here in Tompkins County, but it is packaged for that. And then the issue with that is that there's almost always some toxic materials and products in there. And in Maine, they were doing a lot of that over the course of a couple of years, and many of their farms got contaminated and can no longer be used for food production. So it's not something that we want, we were talking about not wanting to do, or at least to look into whether we could do a ban on that here in this county. And just to let folks know, for instance, we got a lot of information. So for instance, all the wastewater treatment centers in Tompkins County, they send their solids to landfills. But then there's a whole system that needs to be looked at as we're going forward. So for instance, the leachate that comes from our 2 closed landfills in Tompkins County, that goes back to Ithaca wastewater treatment plant. And we have this cycle of what to do with these products. So we need to do some long-term planning for that. So anyway, so with the thanks to the help, the EMC spearheaded a lot of this work to look into this to see if we could do it, because there were a couple of counties that had bans in New York State. So with the help of our county attorney, our health department, the DEC, experts at Cornell. So really did an in-depth research on this. We don't have authority, so please correct me more if I'm getting any of this wrong, but it looks like we don't have the authority to enact a ban locally.
It would be a stretch. I mean, there are municipalities that have adopted moratoria. The Department of Agriculture and Markets has the ability to sue those municipalities and has successfully sued at least one of them to get their moratorium removed. The others are too short to actually effectively study the issues. So what we're looking at now and should be ready to be taken up for consideration at the peak meeting of November 10th is a resolution that would support legislation at the state level comprehensively regulating, whether through a ban or through a moratorium, along with study the land application of the biosolids. And also there are two different categories of biosolids, one of which, the kind that you might find in Agway and other garden supply stores, are type A, which are regulated by the DEC, and the land applied ones applied in bulk on farms and such by Agriculture and Markets. So the resolution would basically be directed at all relevant entities on the state level to regulate and provide guidance. And the chemicals that are at issue are PFAS, the forever chemicals that are finding their way into the biosolids. And there is, sort of this very circular issue of, well, is landfilling really the right thing to do with it? Because then it's going to work its way back into the water supply anyway. Those are the set of issues that we're looking at. And as I said, I spoke at length with Leo and Environmental Council today, who had some great thoughts to include in this, and should have a draft of a resolution for Peak to consider on the 10th.
Yes, thank you. And so that resolution is going to be based in large part on what the EMC, the Environmental Management Council, is helping us draw up. And we still have support from all the advisory boards that we had before. And I forgot to mention too, part of the outreach too was to Anna Kellis's State Assembly member, Dr. Anna Kellis's office, who was one of the authors of the state legislation on this. And so in coincidentally today at the GARE conference, there was a DEC research scientist, and he said that he does know that biosolids are being spread in some parts of New York State and the western portion. So it's something that we want to keep an eye on. Yeah, I think that about wraps up that topic. And we also had an executive session to get an update and give some feedback, with the advice of our attorney on the NYSEG rate case. So thanks to Haley and Terry from our planning department in assisting us with that. I think that's about it. Oh, and we're meeting again on Monday, November 10th at 1 p.m.
Questions or comments for the Planning, Energy, and Environmental Quality Committee? Okay, thank you. We are going to now take our 10-minute break. We are in recess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we are back in session. If everybody can make their way to their seats, please. We're back in session. Okay, we are up to the Public Safety Committee. Rich John, Chair.
Thank you, Dan. The Public Safety Committee will be meeting next week, October 28th at 1 o'clock, and I anticipate we will be having a presentation from the Center for Governmental Research on our emergency medical services. This is the report that we had commissioned. I'd also mention our jail numbers are at 48 with 2 board outs. So it does seem like those numbers have trended down again. We had seen a real spike, but they've appeared to have modulated. I have 3 resolutions, but I'd ask if there are any questions or comments before I go to the resolution.
Questions or comments for the Public Safety Committee?
First,
Rich, could you just tell me the time of that meeting again? I didn't catch it. Your next public
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on the 28th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution N, contingent fund appropriation, replacement pay and terminal pay reimbursement, Sheriff's Office, Doc ID 13550, and I move it.
Travis seconds. Discussion. No discussion. Ready to vote on Resolution N then. All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
I have Resolution O, contingent fund appropriation, emergency medical services evaluation, county administration, Doc ID 13556, and I move it.
Travis seconds. Discussion. Rich.
Just, this is the funding that we had approved some time ago. It's authorizing paying the consultants for the work they did.
Mike Lane.
No, I put my hand up by mistake.
Passing, okay. Any other discussion? Let's have a vote then on Resolution O. All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous.
And I have Resolution P, contingent fund appropriation, forensic pathologist for grand jury and trial proceedings, District Attorney, Doc ID 13567.
Travis seconds. Discussion. Okay, let's have a...
This is for expert witness testimony at 2 trials.
Okay. Any further discussion? Resolution P. Let's have a vote then. All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody.
And I have nothing further.
Okay, any further questions or comments for Rich? Okay, moving on. Tompkins Intergovernmental Relations Committee, Shauna Black, Chair.
We have not met for a few months. Our next meeting is November 5th at 11 a.m. And we're going to be joined by NISAC and Cornell for sure. I'm still waiting to hear from federal representatives and state reps.
Questions or comments for the Tiger Committee? Mike Lane.
Sean, I know at one point you were going to talk with Senator Webb about our requests going back to last year for funding for our patrol boat, and I wondered if you heard anything on that.
I've not, though. I wrote to Anna and Senator Webb about 2 weeks ago. So I'll ping her again and see if there's any $56,000 floating around that she could throw our way.
80,000.
I thought it was 56, 58 maybe.
If we had a boat and it was floating around, we...
It was, you know, that was one of the unfunded over targets that was...
I'll check with Derek to get the exact amount. I wrote it in the text message I sent to both of them, so I could be wrong on that. Yeah.
Ann?
Yeah, just regarding government relations, I just wanted to add in something. When we had the presentation from CNS regarding the airport strategic 20-year plan, so it's being held up. It needs authorization, it needs approval from the FAA, and so not enough staff and their department that works on that. It's just closed right now. So there's a bit of a delay in that. And I'm not saying there's anything you can do, but just want to let you know.
Okay, thank you. Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee, Veronica Pillar, Chair.
We have not met since our last legislature meeting, and our next Workforce Diversity and Inclusion Committee meeting is going to be next Wednesday, October 29th at 3 p.m. Agenda not set yet, but one thing we will get to hear from is, thing we'll get to hear about is from Lisa Monroe on the Office for the Aging equity indicators they've chosen.
Questions or comments for WDIC? Okay, thank you. Next up, Budget, Capital, and Personnel Committee. Mike Lane, Chair.
Well, after 9 very productive meetings of the Expanded Budget Committee, we did come up with a proposed resolution, which we have here. But we also had a regular Budget, Capital, and Personnel Committee meeting on October 9th. And I think the most important discussion we had during that time was to talk about this issue of whether or not we're going to ask our state reps to sponsor legislation for us to raise our room tax by 1%. And we talked about that. It did pass Budget Committee. However, there's probably needs to go to other committees to have a look before it comes to the full legislature. And so that's where that is. There was discussion about how that would be used. For example, would it be used for various things that would have to be specified in the law, or would it be used for the airport, which we've talked about at some point? So stay tuned. We passed it, and it will be coming to this legislature, but it's got to have the be looked at by other committees. We were told there are now 813 employees at the county level, and that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. And I'm ready to move the one I think we'll have some discussion about tonight.
Questions or comments for Mike before we go to the resolution? Randy.
Yeah, we also got a report on training for the county. I thought was pretty comprehensive, and all the training programs are doing. But one of the things in that report was how much money it cost for recruitment. And it was well over $1 million, $1.4 million maybe, and they talked about how difficult it is sometimes to go through that whole process and find out that people don't want to move here. So I thought that was quite interesting that that's a challenge.
Yeah, Randy, that's a good point. And, you know, the cost of living here, even though we're a rural county, quote unquote, is pretty high compared to the surrounding area.
Travis.
This is just a question on the process. So we're going to vote on this and then add amendments possibly afterwards?
Correct.
Why wouldn't we add the amendments before we voted on it?
We need to move it out.
No, we would.
I'm sorry, Travis, can you ask your question again? Maybe I misunderstood.
So my question was, we're going to vote on this before we look at the other amendments that would be added to this?
I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong answer.
Numbers.
We're going to move the resolution in a minute, and then we'll do the regular amendment process. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. So before we do the resolution, any more last questions for the Budget Committee? Okay, Mike, you're on. Resolution Q.
All right, we've got Resolution Q. I'm going to move the revised edition that's in your red folders. It's the adoption of amendments to the 2026 tentative Tompkins County budget and the 2026-2030 capital program. The differences in this revised version are some minor changes in the calculations on the tax rate by 2 cents and the impact on the average house. We've also added, and I want to thank Legislator Ann Corman for suggesting this, that we also now have the median price and the impact on commercial property in this resolved that's in red in what you're looking at. And I'd like to move that.
Do we have a second? Deborah seconds. Discussion. Mike Lane.
I just want to say I just hope we can move this forward tonight because we spent a lot of time working on this. We came up with something that was voted for by every legislator at the EBC meeting, and I think that was pretty unique. No, it didn't fund everything that we would like to have had, but it moves our county along and has us positioned to be careful next year, with next year coming along and whatever happens at the federal level.
Okay, discussion. Randy.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk quickly about, because it is also the capital program, and we did get feedback from, in detail, from county administration on the various projects that need to be completed over the next 5 years, and that ended up being a significant amount of money, someplace around $16 million or over the next 5 years that has to happen. And so my question was, right now we're allocating $700,000 for the facilities department. And is the plan to continue to fund them instead of $1.4 million, which was 0.25%, I think was the plan years ago when the committee was focused on the capital needs of the county. Is the plan going forward to continue to cut from $1.4 million to $700,000 going forward, and then to amortize and then to bond these other projects? Is that the plan? To keep it at $700,000?
I think what I would say is that the 700,000 decision was made in the face of all the difficulties we were made to choose from based on our constraint with our funding. So we will look at amortizing, bonding some of the projects that we can bond. What we looked at, some of the projects that we will be able to fit within a bond may cost us around about $500,000 annually. So the 700,000 gives us that cushion to be able to do that, and also those that may not fit within the bond program can be funded with the extra 200,000 that will be left. So we are looking at all the program for 2026, and then we absolutely will be looking to bond it so that we'll be able to complete those program plans.
Okay, so looking at the list, it was very comprehensive, so thanks for putting that together. Some items like a roof, you would, bond over maybe 20 years. Yes. But some of those things were, not that. They're useful life of 3 to 4 or 5 years, like a rug, those kinds of things. So are you going to go through all that and say, this is the expense side, these are the items we want to bond going forward? Because it's $10 million just the next 2 years. So I was just curious how that process is going to work.
Yeah, we will provide committees with the various details of that process, the items we can and cannot bond, and how we intend funding them moving forward. But we are optimistic that the 2026 plan can be met with the funding that has been voted for in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, looking for further debate or proposed amendments? Mike?
Can I just say to that point, Randy, and I said it in the committee, was we used to have, it's probably been almost 10 years now, we had a capital committee, a special committee that ran for about 3 years. It was actually eventually morphed into the committee that did the Chambers update. But it was so educational for all of us. And that committee was the one that we eventually proposed the 0.25% on the levy to meet the ongoing costs over the years. So I would say to whoever the leadership is going to be next year, whether they're sitting around here, whether they're out to be elected yet, please consider that having a new capital committee.
Okay. Further discussion, proposed amendments? Randy?
So I'm not clear in the process, so
yes.
This is where I would bring it.
That's correct. You were making an amendment to this resolution.
Okay, and I'm first on the list here, so I'll do that. And it's number 2 on this list we just received. I sent, and this is for Cornell Crop Extension, is to restore a 5% cut made in 2025 budget, and it's $37,960. And so I spoke to Cornell Crop Extension, met with them, exchanged emails, and I asked them, I knew many of the things that they were doing in the city, and asked them to lay exactly down what they were doing in the city. So they provided this written document of the things specifically they're doing in the city. I think that, and I've asked them to do that for other things too, now that this has been helpful to me, because asking questions doesn't do that. I'd also like to note that they've been receiving consistently large cuts. Their budget in 2023 was $997,000. It dropped to $809,000 in 25 and down to $649,000, so a 35% cut in 3 years. Inflation's gone up almost that much in the same amount of time.
Point of order, is there a second for this?
We did not get a second, I'm sorry, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Veronica, seconds.
Sorry about that.
No, that was my fault.
And so these folks are also doing the only agricultural work in the county. There's concerns that the Agricultural and Farm Protection Board will have to cut meetings in half because this does fund part of that position. And so this is really important to them. They're still doing cuts. They're still going to have to cut people. But when you cut somebody, that much money, and their costs are going through the roof, you're going to lose good people. And right now, Cornell Crop Extension has good people. They build their staff. They're committed. They're doing good work in the county. And to continue to cut them will also tell the board of directors, which is a strong board of directors now, and a lot of people very involved. You're telling them that, hey, maybe you're wasting your time. So.
Travis.
I could be wrong, but I think we split the baby already on this. It was 10%. I think, Dan, you had put a resolution in, and we ended up at $36,000 to restored funding to CCE. I can't support this for the same reason I couldn't support 2 positions at the library, 2 positions at the call center. HSC lost quite a bit of money. OAR lost quite a bit of money. Everybody took a hit in this budget, and so I can't pick one agency over the other. I try to remain as consistent as possible throughout this process, give a little bit to this agency, give a little bit back to this agency, but I think everybody across the board, including our own county departments, have had to make a sacrifice in this budget. If money wasn't an issue, this would have never been a problem. I would have gave them back the 10%. Maybe they would have never been asked to cut 10%, but money is an issue. So I can't support this. If I did, I would have to go back and bring up the ones that I didn't support the first time around.
Greg, did you have your hand up? I wasn't sure. No.
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'll just repeat what I said during the budget process. Personally, my decisions are ever about the quality of the program. I think CCE and the folks there do amazing work. As Travis said, it's not that I don't want to fund them. I would love to fund them, but there just isn't the money this year. So I won't be supporting any of the resolutions tonight.
Deborah.
Yeah, I agree with Travis. And further to Amanda's point, given how short our resources are and how worthy most of these organizations and asks are, I would really appreciate it if people would stop saying, if you don't vote for this, then you're saying X. I'm not saying X. All I'm saying is there isn't money. Thank you.
Shauna.
Thank you. I am actually really happy to see that CCE is on the right track. I think for years we had some serious concerns about the operations and what was happening there, and so I'm glad that the executive director seems planted in our community and really investing and turning things around there. With that said, I agree with Travis. I mean, I think all of our nonprofit agencies do an incredible job, and this year, I mean, I feel like we're just waiting for the bomb to go off. We don't know what to expect, and if there were extra funds, I would want to hold on to them a little bit and see what the next 2 months brings, because we might need to allocate some extra funds starting in a few weeks to people that are having food issues. So I think for me, that's going to be my focus. So I'm sorry, I won't support it.
Greg, did you have your hand up now?
Yes. Thank you. Sorry. This budget year has been, personally challenging, and I think it probably is for many, right? Trying to weigh the priorities we have at hand. I think Randy makes a compelling argument, though, the repeated cuts that we've seen to CCE and the significant nature of those cuts. I think when I first joined the legislature, to Shauna's point, there was real concern about this organization, and there had been for quite some time. And I think kudos to the staff, to the leadership, to the board for putting it on the right track. I would like us to look at, before the next budget cycle, how our supported agencies over a 5-year period have experienced budget growth or decline, and to what percentage. I think, to Randy's point, and it's only because Randy is a steward of the budget and a student of the budget, that he digs deep into some of these issues and really has these facts at hand. So I think that they've really been put on the chopping block, and based on the letters that I've received from the public, overwhelmingly to other issues, that this organization really does play a vital role for many across our community. I would be inclined to support this because I also believe it'll keep us under where I would like us to be for the tax levy increase. But I'm open to dialogue and debate, and I hope that we can take up in our budget process next year a more holistic look at the long-term impacts our budget decisions have made to our supported agencies.
Veronica.
I'll be supporting this. Thank you, Randy, for bringing it forward. I think Greg explained a lot of the, why this agency, and I would love to fund plenty of agencies, but that's obviously not happening. But CCE has been doing better and better with more and more cuts to their budget. And I'm certainly not going to say anything about what anyone's vote says. But so how do I word this? If CCE is doing really good work and doing great with a certain amount of money, they're probably going to do even more and even better with a little more money. And people might think that that is not needed, but I think the operations money we give to them supports so much, and we do have the money. We literally have the money. This is almost $38,000, and it's hard to do the math fast. If we don't want to take it out of our own coffers, we could ask every homeowner to pay about $3 extra, couple extra dollars.
How much, Corsa?
No, not even that much.
No, less than that, less than that.
It's only
Sorry.
$33,000.
It would be way less.
Yeah, like $1 extra or so. To do something that at least to get partway to something that a lot of people have been asking us for. So I think people may not want to allocate the money, but it is untrue that we just don't have the money. We have the money, the county organization and the county community as a whole.
We'll see if we have the money in the next resolution.
Not for that.
You will not have money.
Ann.
Not on that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I know that the farms have been hit really hard. We're an agricultural county, and so farms are hitting really hard. This is our only lever to help farms that I know of I could be wrong, but I think of all the services and agencies in the county that pretty much this is it, CCE. So we know farm workers are hurting. We heard, and what happens to farm workers, it affects our farms, affects our food, people being able to afford food. We heard a story today at Gare of, I think it was 69 farm workers rounded up in Cayuga County that have been just gone and detained for a month and a half, people with kids. The kids getting put in foster care, and the farms without their workers. The grants for farms, most of them have been eliminated. The monies for Healthy Food for All, which helps people that need food assistance with obtaining food to get healthy food from local farms, that money is mostly gone. So I could go on, and never mind their youth programs, with the young farmers programs. They help teach people to stretch their dollars to buy and cook healthy foods. I mean, there's just so many good programs that they have, that they're doing things that we rely on them to do in the community so that we don't have to do it. They can do it leaner and cheaper. And so they're doing programs that most of them, nobody else is doing. So a little bit for this organization goes a long way. So please consider adding back in, especially with what's going on. This is preemptively helping to mitigate a little bit of the stress with farmers and food issues that are already here. Thank you.
Dan Nolan.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Randy, for bringing this. I actually think this is a pretty good bang for our proverbial buck in an otherwise tight year. I think CC works across the county in a lot of different ways, and in a lot of ways, to Ann's point, other organizations and institutions aren't doing. And this is the #1 item that I've received mail on from constituents and people in the community by a shot. So if I'm looking at this from the perspective of what have my constituents and or the people in the county reached out to me and expressed as important to them, this very much is at the top of the list. And if I'm looking at for an analysis on the best bang for your buck, trying to be a good steward of the taxpayer dollars, this seems like it's a good one as well. And for $37,960, I'll support it.
Rich.
Yeah, I went back and looked at the budget notes, and Travis, you indicated that we had considered an amendment earlier, and my notes seem to indicate that we reinstated about half. Is that right? So what you're looking for here is to...
This is a second amendment that Dan initially put in and withdrew. So this is a second cut.
But it would eliminate the cut entirely.
Right. They would still not get 37,000 from the other. They only got half of the original one. This is a different one.
Right, so it's the other half of the 70-something thousand.
Yeah, so that one came through. And this was a second one that I believe Dan initially put through and then removed it.
Correct.
But the impact, though, it would make them whole.
Still wouldn't make them whole, but it would. What this is it's a
partial.
Right. It's a restore of 5% of what was cut in 25.
No.
I'm not sure I fully understand.
We cut their budget by
Norma, do you want to say
5% in 25.
Let's have Norma Jane come up.
So last year.
Correct.
For this year.
This current fiscal year's budget.
And so how much of that now gets restored with the two resolutions that we've passed?
All of it.
That's Norma.
75,000.
So the 37,960 that was restored in 2025. So I think what we're trying to do is restore the 72,123, which has been partially restored at $36,000. So it would be, I think it was 36,123 that would bring them to the full 72,123 that was cut in the county administrator's budget.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Does that help? Yeah, good.
Yeah, and so as everybody said, CCE is really a great organization. The money we put in there works to our benefit. But in this budget year, it's just so difficult, and we have addressed some of the impact with our prior resolution. So I reluctantly won't support this. Thanks.
Travis.
I think Veronica made a lot of good points, so has Randy. But for me, listening to what they said is the same reasons why I would put in an amendment for the College Upstate Initiative program. It's the same reasons I would put in amendments for some of the other programs that HSC lost. It's the same reason I would give the library a position. It's the same reason I would support the peer person. At the end of the day, they all can't be supported, and we have agencies that have done amazing work and continue to do amazing work and haven't had issues, and we're not giving them extra money to say, hey, you've done some great stuff. You've managed your money, you've managed everything well, here's more money to do more. We don't have it. Folks didn't ask for more on top of what they got cut because they knew it wasn't the year for it. So everything Veronica and Randy said is absolutely true. But there's other agencies that got cut too that I feel we would have to restore. And then we'd be right back to where we were before by adding hundreds of thousands of dollars when you total everybody up. And I can't, I pulled one of my amendments because in good conscience, I couldn't do two for the same agency. And that's just where I'm at.
Shauna.
I think it would be helpful if there's any way to pull up our spreadsheet so that we can actually see the difference in our tax levy by adding these amendments. I don't know if that's possible.
I'm seeing a nod. Is that, yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Ann, did you want to speak again? No. Is there anybody else that wanted to speak? Veronica.
I guess it's not quite on this, but just for information, is there anywhere I can go right now to see the current budget? Like, we're not doing this, but if we were to pass the resolution suddenly right this moment without Randy's amendment, is there anywhere I can go to see what budget it is we would be recommending? As in, like, are legislator amendments incorporated into the online budget book yet? Or if not, where can I look?
I think we're working on it.
It's incorporated in the recommended budget. So we were making the amendments. We were making changes as the amendment were passed. So what is filed online is with all the amendment that has been made, if you have the online version.
Sean, I want to go back to what you asked. Were you asking to plug this amendment in to see what it would do to the...
Yeah, that would be great.
Normally able to do that?
Thank you.
Thank you. I know there's a little bit of time delay. Yep. Yes, you had a whole team with you last time.
It's like the old days when you're there by yourself, Norma.
Yeah, so that would be the number 3.38.
So it went from 3.32, I think, or
3.1.
3.31 to 3.38.
Well, let's add the other ones in too. The 11,783 and the 25,000.
You would like to
Might
do
as
that?
well see what the total damage is.
You wanted to do that now before we
Sure.
vote on any of them?
Yeah.
Is that
Sure,
acceptable
because
to
if we
everybody?
just consider them one at a time, it doesn't look like much, does it?
Just to clarify, you're not putting in the airport debt, are you?
No.
No, okay. Just checking.
No, I think that goes somewhere else.
So that's all four of them?
That's three.
Three of them. Gotcha. So that would go, if we did every yes on all three of those, it goes from 3.31 to 3.44.
So what about the other numbers?
What about the average? Yeah, the average on the.
Norma, are you able to
Income
calculate the,
Okay.
so the answer is no, we can't calculate that in real time. But it's a point.
Dan can do it in his head.
It's a 0.1. Really? It's a 0.13% increase in the tax levy. Okay, so we have a motion on the table for an amendment to add $37,960 to cooperative extension. Are we ready to vote? Okay, all in favor? Please keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody's out of order. Might be. Okay.
Opposed? The motion fails 7-7. Is there another amendment?
7-7
better
vote,
last
huh?
time. What's that?
Another 7-7 vote, huh?
Yeah, just right in the rules. 7-7 loses.
Not a tie.
Not a problem. Veronica, you had your hand up earlier before this amendment started. Are you ready to do yours?
Sure, but Randy, do you want to go first?
I have the next one too, don't I?
Mm-hmm. Well, the next small one.
Either way.
Or
Oh, by the way, although, actually, Norma can correct me, but I think doing some math from the resolution that if we had approved that last one and the other two, it would raise the tax bill for a medium-priced home by $1.07. With that first one off the table, the other two together would be about half of $1.07.
Okay, let's call that an estimate, right? All right. So Randy, you're up again.
Okay, we're not going to do Mike's?
Sure.
That's just next on the list. That's why I'm asking.
Let's find out.
Fine. Mike Sigler, you're on.
Sure, I would like to move the recommending of the county take over the airport, $11.1 million of debt, and then we pay the yearly payment on that debt of $683,969.
Is there a second? Travis seconds.
Thank you, Travis.
Discussion.
Thank you, buddy. So, why am I bringing this forward? Because I want to know kind of like if this is a philosophical opposition or if it's the amount. Because it's a big number. And I don't want the people out there thinking, oh, Mike Sigler wants to raise your taxes by this much because he wants to add this much to the debt, the county debt. This is our debt. We already own it. It's just in a different place. And, I've heard a lot of talk about the airport of it closing versus us keeping an airport. And I don't think that's correct. That's not the debate. We are not closing the airport, because if you close the airport, you got to repay just I don't even know how much money, but it's a lot. And we're just not doing that.
I think it's $42 million.
$42 million. Thank you, Michael. We're not repaying $42 million to close the airport. Now, that doesn't mean the airport has to be commercial. I'm not advocating this. I like having a commercial airport. I think it's an economic driver. But there are other counties in New York State that do not have commercial airports. They build hangars and they rent out space, all things we could also do right now. The problem we're having, it seems, some people are stuck on the idea that when we took on this debt, we were told PFCs would pay this. Yeah, that's not going to happen. COVID knocked that dream out, so that's gone. So now we have this debt at the airport, and the airport is, to stay competitive, I will say, is struggling to pay this debt. Much like a lot of student loans are struggling to pay their debt, and that prevents them from buying houses and doing whatever. And so I just want to move this debt out of the airport and move it onto our books. And then we pay it. And that will free up $683,000 for the airport so that they can be more competitive to attract more commercial flights. Maybe we'll open them up to doing other things that will bring in income into the airport. But it just seems like we are setting our department there just up for failure. And I don't want to put them behind the 8 ball like that. I mean, there was a lot of laughing about this just now, like literally like 5 minutes ago. I don't know why. It's our debt. Like, it's there. It's not actually a laughing matter. So if you're laughing about it because it's a big number, well, yeah, it's a big number. I mean, it's an $11 million debt. We're thinking about building a $50 million center of government. Yeah, that's a big number. The debt service on that is going to be high. This is one we already have. So I'm just suggesting we take care of it sooner rather than later, and to give the airport a fighting chance here. There is another way, and Dan has brought this up, that we could pay for, I would just suggest the first couple of years, and I wrote this in an email to all of you. If we do take this over, this debt, it is capital expense. I mean, we could take this out of the capital fund to pay the first couple of years, and then it won't impact the tax rate at all. If you don't want to go that route, yeah, it will impact the tax rate. It'll raise it, I think Norma just told me, 1.2% on the tax rate, which is significant. But it's not going away. It's there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 future, possibly legislators in the room. That's what you're going to deal with. And the people who are up for, who are going to be here still, yeah, the debt's there. And I'm just suggesting we take care of it while it could really make a difference for the airport and hopefully put them on a more competitive footing. So thanks. That's it.
Okay, I've got 5 people in the queue so far. Mike Lane.
Mike, I appreciate your looking out for the airport here and what you're doing. If indeed we could increase the room tax by 1%, if the state would let us do that, and we could then allocate that money to the airport, I think what you're suggesting might be a good idea, to take the money coming to the county from the additional room tax and pay for that debt service. But right now, with that up in the air, I'm having a hard time saying that we could vote for this, that I could vote for this, sorry.
Greg.
Yeah, I love the airport. Talked to Roxanne on the way to the meeting and let her know that I was fully behind the airport and trying to make the airport as successful and competitive as possible, but couldn't support this tonight. We've gone back and forth, up and down about airport funding. I don't want to reopen it. I don't want to relitigate it. I also think, to Mike's point, we need to take maybe a year and kind of study what some possibilities might be, see what some of the contributions we've already made that were significant in this year's budget to the tune of $800,000 plus. So while normally I would be all over this and very supportive, I just don't think it's the right time for some of the reasons Mike Lane mentioned. And I also just don't think there's 8 votes around the table, so I'd like to call the question.
We need a second to call the question? Is there a second to call the question? Amanda seconds, so there's no discussion, am I correct on that? So just to make sure everyone knows what we're doing, calling the question means we end debate and we immediately vote on the resolution. So the question is, shall we call the question? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. All opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Deborah's voting twice. I thought we were voting again. I'm sorry.
You can only vote once. Keep your hand up if you're in the opposition.
Okay, who's in opposition?
Can you do it again?
Well, we can do it again, fresh. The question is, are we calling the question? All in favor of calling the question, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There'll be 7 on you.
All opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. 1, 2,
7.
I have 7 now.
Okay, 7, 7. The motion fails.
I think that was another 7-7 vote, right?
Still no problem.
Still in the room.
Still no problem. Okay, so we're back in the debate on this amendment to the budget. Deborah, you're next.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that we already dedicated $853,000 to the airport, so if we added this, it would be well over $1.5 million. But that's not what I raised my hand about. Mike, you said you didn't want people to think you were just trying to raise their taxes. Where are you going to get this $683,000?
You're going to have to come up with it now or later, Deborah. You're just shifting it down the road.
Where are you going to come up with it
Going to go from
next year?
taxes, or you could pull it out of other things in the budget.
Yes,
You
I
added
know what those
11
other things are.
11 people we added to this budget, Deborah. That's $1 million. So let's not act like
Deborah has
we're
the floor.
thrifty.
Deborah has the floor.
No, I'm done.
You done? Randy?
Yeah, I think that we've talked about the airport plenty, and I think that we funded them enough. But my question is, so the plan would be to absorb this by the county to reduce their employment fees to be more competitive with other.
Well, that'd be up to
It would
them.
drop at something like $10 or something. 'Cause right now it's $30 compared to Syracuse's 15. So, and I'm not opposed to looking at stuff like that, not this year, and your idea of taking it out of capital funds might be something to look at in the future. I also agree with the 1%, of course, on the hotel tax, but I don't think the timing is correct for this, and I'd like to see what the airport can come up with over the next year.
Lee?
I'm still reeling from the discussion when we started the budget process, and Mike, I'm certainly not opposed to seeing this conversation go forward, but my sense then was that the undercooked turkey should have been sent back to the kitchen for some more seasoning before we carved it here at the dining room table.
All right, Lee.
All right.
I want to get you into a fall mood here. At least turn up the oven. My point to this is that I've heard 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 different ideas here as to how to proceed with the airport moving forward. And given that I'm still not sure what the repercussions of the $800,000 vote versus the $1.9 million vote versus wherever we went, I really think this needs to go back to county administration, the capital program committee, possibly, Mike, and look at this in a much broader context. I'm not ready to throw away the airport, but by the same token, I'm not sure what we did in the proposed budget process has left the airport in any better position than it was in. And you know, so Mike, I can't support this tonight, but I appreciate your keeping it front and center.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm not sure I've ever seen a mid-speech applause from the legislature. So that's really something. Dan Nolan.
Thank you. Yeah, so Mike, I think this is a good idea, obviously. I think that you're bringing up a financial reality that we all kind of have to face here, and that is the reality that it is our debt. We're going to be paying for it one way or another. We can do so in a way that lightens the load a bit on the airport, who has expressed some level of need when it comes to their employment costs. But I would say this, I would vote for it today if, and we kind of hinted at this earlier, if it was shifted to the capital program. And here's why. We have, so I actually went through the budget a couple days ago. I had some talks with Daryl and Corson and some other folks about trying to kind of right size and allocate things to capital where it should be allocated, because capital is a tool in our toolbox to be used for specific things that are eligible for capital funding. This is obviously clearly it, because it's debt, it's already there. And it's fiscally prudent for us to do so. Maybe a high number, but it doesn't really matter. Capital is always high numbers, so that's beside the point. So given that, and given the fact that we are actually doing something smart for the taxpayer, in my opinion, if we shift it to the capital program, because we are taking this debt and we are putting it in a place where it can be paid off over time, because it's going to be anyway, in a manner in which the taxpayer then can get the benefit of hopefully reduced employment costs from the airport. So I look at this more as right sizing than any type of additional investment in the airport. That's not really what it is. We're paying these costs anyway through our subsidy to the airport anyhow, because we are necessarily paying them more than $682,969 anyway. So when you look at it as the fact that we're subsidizing the airport one way or another, they have to pay this debt one way or another, we're paying this bill anyway. So if we can shift it to a place where we can pay it over time on our own terms and in a way that we can do it, I say that it makes more sense. So I'll be supporting it insofar as we could add that amendment to it.
And I consider that a friendly amendment?
Can you state the amendment, please?
It would be to, how would I phrase this? Of course, we talked about this once. It was insofar as you can, I'm sorry, I don't know how to phrase it specifically. Shift it to the capital program.
And you want to say where you want to put it?
Yeah, I would say that these should be allocated, this cost should be allocated in the capital program.
But you want to say where in the resolution?
And Dan, are you asking for it to be bonded? Is that the difference?
It's already bonded.
It's bonded by the airport. It's not bonded by the county. Is it you saying the county would bond it?
No, we have a capital reserve that we could then fund.
I'm trying to help you with your amendment.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That out of our capital reserve.
Say it again?
We would just be paying their debt out of our capital reserve. Now, I don't know if that's permissible.
Daryl.
Actually, I would say the capital reserve should be used for capital projects, and I know that sometimes includes debt. However, we also have a debt reserve. That is more clear on that, the debt service reserve.
How much is in there?
Yeah, does it have the capacity to absorb this for at least a little while?
I would have to get back to you on that one, because we do have a reserve policy that requires us to be in a certain threshold that I want to check to make sure that we're not under currently. I do want to add one last thing. Even if we were to decide to pay for the said debt service, I still would recommend, based on fund accounting, that it filters through the airport, because it is a separate fund, and whether it starts in the general fund or the debt service fund, it should go to the airport fund and then back to the debt service.
Okay, that's fair.
Just for clear accounting purposes.
So Dan, you still have the floor. Do you want to ask someone for help here that can, who can help you here?
I kind of asked for a couple people for help, but because this is a complex one. So just let me try to think this through, and then I'm going to ask, of course, for some help. I'm proposing shifting this to be paid for out of the capital reserve because it is debt. That is essentially ours anyhow. We're not shutting the airport, and or the debt reserve, depending on what county administration and county finance suggest. That's my, Of course, so please add any details that are necessary.
I think you said is also is a debt, so we cannot shift it to capital. We shift it to the debt reserve. So we then look at how much we have in there, if we can accommodate our repayment for, let's say, 2026. And if it's insufficient, then we have to move money from general fund to that, which means that we might have to affect the tax levy to a certain degree, because there's a specific certain amount that we are moving to the debt service fund anyway. So I don't have the numbers right now, how much we have in the debt servicing, but I'm sure we can accommodate that in 2026. But we need to figure out 2027 as we move forward.
So we need some wording for this amendment.
I am supporting moving this to the debt service account as its funding source. So I support the amendment moving debts to the debt service account. Reserve, pardon me. Reserve.
Okay.
Mike, is that friendly?
That is friendly.
Is there anyone is that friendly to everybody?
No.
Deborah's not. So we're going to vote on that amendment then. Discussion. First of all, do you have the wording, Katrina?
That the cost should be paid for out of the debt service reserve.
Okay.
And that's the 683. Okay.
So now we're on the amendment. Deborah.
Yeah, it does not sound like we're sure how much is in that reserve and what the restrictions are on it under our policy. And my suggestion would be, this may be a good idea, but not tonight, because in the immortal words of Mr. Shurtleff, this bird is not ready to be carved at this table tonight.
Please, Shurtleff.
Thank you. I need a second on that amendment, because it was not friendly to everyone. Randy's seconding? Okay, thank you. Okay, Rich.
Yeah, I guess I agree with Deborah on this, that this might be a good idea, but it's late October. We've finished our EBC meetings. We have a resolution in front of us on the budget. This would take us back to the beginning of our first EBC meeting, where we spent a good part of the evening talking about the airport. If we assume the debt within the county responsibility, we're really changing the nature of this as an enterprise unit. And maybe that is a good idea, but I'm not ready to make that decision this evening on the limited information we have right now. Frankly, I would be far more comfortable if going forward this was a project for the legislature next year to really delve into how to make the airport function. And maybe this is an answer, but I think it needs a lot more study. So I will not support this evening.
Randy.
Yeah, taking money, I don't support. I agree with Deborah on this. It would be a temporary stopgap because there's only a limited amount of money in this reserve. And also, this airport's been built $45 million in debt right now. By providing this much more money is not going to change anything. More people aren't going to fly here. When you go and you negotiate with people in Florida and say, hey, if we drop the employment fee to $15, would you guarantee us you're going to come and fly here? And that's just not going to happen. I think that there's strategies to come forward with this. It's not a bad idea, I think, about the capital, the way to look at this. But really, what would be the benefit in the long run? I don't think there'd be a benefit of more people coming here by plane.
Okay. Shauna, then Mike Lane.
I think it's actually good that we're having this discussion, but I equally think that it's all right for us to see the numbers in real time. And I think if we were to do this transfer, it's going to absolutely distort the value of our airport. And so while 14 of us are sitting around this table right now, and we have perhaps two incoming legislators that are going to be here next year, there are going to be a handful of people that will not have been part of this discussion. And starting with a clean slate doesn't necessarily give the eyes that I think the airport needs right now whenever it's in trouble. So I don't think it's an awful idea, but I do think it's half-baked.
Mike Lane.
Problem I have with it is that if you use the debt reserve now, you've got to replenish that debt reserve in the 2027 budget. So you're setting yourself up for, as Mike said, you're going to have to pay for it later.
Greg. Oh, Darrell, go ahead.
We currently have approximately $3.1 million in the debt reserve, which is not enough. We cannot use it and still stay in compliance with our reserve policy.
Greg.
Yeah, I was going to move that we postpone this amendment till our November meeting to give our finance and administration team time to opine if this would be possible, even though I think it's best to maybe overcook the bird a little bit next year in committee and come up with a real strategy for the airport. But I don't know if people are open to that. If there's appetite to explore the idea this year, great. If not, we should just
put the bird back in the oven.
Yeah, and move on, because we're occupying staff time and all of our time and the public's time.
Okay, so that was the last I had on the amendment. So we're ready to vote on the amendment to move this dollar figure to the debt reserve of the county. Ready to vote? All in favor?
3.
Yeah. All opposed? That motion fails 3-11. Okay, we are back to the main motion, which is to just take it on as county debt. Any further discussion on that?
Dan, I'm going to withdraw that.
Okay.
The amendment was better.
Okay. I think it was a good, I'll opine for a moment. It was a good discussion, and it sounds like people want to talk about it more, just not in this moment.
Want it to marinate a little more.
Bride the bird, if you will.
Just don't deep fry that sucker.
All right, punsters, we are up to the next budget amendment, proposed amendment. Randy Brown.
And I'm glad to see this is the last one for me for the year. And I didn't have a lot, so this is to reinstate the 3%, basically a cost of living, they call it enhancement, for the various entities that are supported, that run through the Youth Services Department. It's for $11,783, and you can see the list of all the different people. And my thought on that is that, you know, people that are in these jobs aren't the highest paid people here. These are people who are doing the people's work, and it's tough, and a 3% raise isn't going to cover their expenses, so I'm moving it forward.
Is there a second? Greg seconds. Further discussion? Travis.
This is more of a question. Looking at the list, these are quite a few City of Ithaca programs, and then there's the Learning Web. Is there a reason why the city isn't putting in more for their city-ran programs? Now, I don't mean programs that are located in the city. I mean, these are actual City of Ithaca programs.
Can I get Kate to come up and talk to that real quickly? These are all the ones I think that are funded through Youth Services.
Kate Shanks Booth, Director of County Youth Services.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, this is the contract that we have with our funded agencies, and we do fund 4 programs at the Ithaca Youth Bureau. They do receive city funding. We do fund them, but not in their entirety. And so they had to submit reapplications for their funding, and on average, it was about a 6% increase for what they thought they would need for 2025. So, but just to give a little background, Legislator Klein, brought forth a 3% increase for municipal youth services, which you guys supported, and thank you for that. Typically, what we do as a department is bring this 3% in tandem, because this is the other side of the house, so to speak, in what we fund. So you have increased to 3% funding for the municipal youth service program, but the other side of the house is the funded agency. So what I'm asking for is just some equity in this. The $11,000 is also matched dollar for dollar. So Travis.
So Kate, this is cost of living, right? This is cost of living?
Yeah, cost of living, cost of just everything has gone up, but yeah, you could look at it as a cost of living, sure.
So the annual raises and steps that city staff get is factored into this or not factored into this?
No, well, this is 3% on everything, so this is also like the cost of things. So it does affect salary, but it's just for cost of programming and supplies as well.
Thank you, that's what I need to know.
Shauna.
I did get an email the other day that Family and Children's, the Open Doors program, is no longer. Is there a deduction from this $11,000 amount that would be deducted since they're no longer operating? So
they may not be operating in it, but it's not changed the amount, and we are working with other providers to try to find a stopgap. I had mentioned that in the HHS. So the 3% would increase in the amount of the contract, but they may not be operating the contract. Well, they won't be operating the contract at the end of the year, but the cost of that program, even if someone takes it on it, is higher than it was last year.
Any other questions or comments on the proposed amendment to add money to youth services, $11,783? Okay, let's have a vote then. All in favor? Keep your hands up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh my God.
All opposed.
We gave it to the roof.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, okay. Good? The motion fails.
I'll bite my tongue.
You didn't bite your tongue.
Okay, Veronica.
Well, this has been going so poorly, I almost don't want to. But I'd like to move this last amendment to add back $25,000 in one-time funds to the Community Food Coalition. And this, which the HSC through their process recommended funding to. And I think I maybe already tried and failed to bring an amendment that included this. I forget what happened. And there's lots of agencies requesting things that are getting denied, but something that I, in all the information, had missed was that this particular request was part of a multi-year OTR that we're in year one, there was gonna be year two, is the funding that they are presumably hoping for, or I don't know about at this point, but were that we would be denying them. And so I would like to not do that, just for the sake of, one, it's a food security, and it's not the only food security network, but that's been, food insecurity is already obviously a problem, and that is one of the things that, with all of the everything going on, we're likely looking at escalating greatly.
I need a second, please.
Oh, yes.
And seconds.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's good practice, unless it's, something has gone terribly wrong, to keep the multi-year OTRs, the multi-years that we've signaled.
Deborah.
Yeah, so I had a question about that. This would have been year two of a 3-year multi-year, and you want it to be a one only.
I guess I meant one time instead of target, but if there's a way to flag.
So you would have it go through for this year and next year, 26
yes.
and 27.
If that's something that I can indicate, then yes, yeah.
Okay.
So just to clarify, you can indicate that, but we can only vote on 26, but
No, I
I'm just
understand
stating that for the world.
I had a question about her,
All good.
So in order to be consistent, I mean, I did vote for Sunflower House on the same rationale that it was a multi-year OTR and we shouldn't pull the rug out from under them. And then on top of that, I agree with you, Veronica, that we're particularly concerned about food security in this county. So strangely enough, I'll be supporting this.
Travis.
The same, we're on the cusp of seeing what this looks like, not even feeling it, but just seeing what it looks like. I think this is really proactive. It is year two of a third-year agreement, basically. And so I find this to be a proactive amendment, knowing what's coming. We're already seeing the red flags. So I'll support this.
Shauna.
Yeah, the food insecurity is going to definitely be an issue. But I also, I think it's interesting for people to know what the Friendship Donations actually does. They contribute and they drop off food for Catholic Charities, Child Development Council, Dryden High School, Enfield Elementary, Family Reuse, GIAC, Garden Apartments, Ithaca Free Clinic, Ithaca Youth Bureau, Lansing Lunchbox, Mental Health Association, OAR, Racker Center, Reach, Second Wind Cottages, STAP, St. John's, Tompkins Community Action, Trumansburg, Village at Ithaca, and TST BOCES, and a whole slew of other places. I just named some of the ones that we're all familiar with. And so, I kind of feel like this is a lifeline for all these other agencies to get the food to people. And, I know that we've had the Southern Tier Food Bank come in and talk about how one donated dollar equals, I don't even remember the amount, but it was like $40 out in the community because they can negotiate those dollars. So I definitely think this is worth our investment here.
Travis.
One of the things they do, the primary thing that they do, is take food that would be going to waste and getting it out to all these different agencies and folks in the community. So the money's not actually like buying stuff. It is taking what exists that would be going into waste and getting it out to people. You can't get a better bang for your buck.
I'm going to take a turn. I just want to clarify, in the old days, one time meant fund balance. So I just want to be clear, are you asking for this to come out of fund balance or put it into the tax levy?
Whatever we did with other tax levy. Sean is saying tax levy.
Yeah, everything came out of tax levy this year unless we said otherwise. So I'm assuming that's.
Yeah, it's your motion. Okay, very good.
Yes.
Any other debate? Okay, it's a proposed amendment to add $25,000 to the Community Food Coalition. Ready to vote? All in favor? Opposed? Carries 12-2.
You're smart to throw Lansing lunchbox in this.
Mike Sigler, you...
I'd like to reconsider the youth one that we just did. I voted against it. I'd like to change my vote to...
Second.
Okay, so this is a motion to reconsider.
Yes, please.
And it was seconded by Greg. So in a motion to reconsider, for the purpose of the world, you can do it if you were on the winning side or if you were absent for the vote.
What are we reconsidering?
What are we reconsidering, Mike Sigler?
11.
$11,783 for the 3% enhancement for the funded agencies to the floor for the vote. Total amount needed for this enhancement is what I just said.
Very good.
Randy Brown's.
And in order to do this, we're going to take two votes. The first vote is whether or not to put it back on the table, for lack of a better word. And then if that passes, then we will vote on the resolution itself. Any questions about the process we're about to do? Amanda?
You can make a motion to reconsider if you were on the...
Prevailing side.
But it was a tie.
But it was a tie. So, okay, yep, okay.
Good.
No such thing as a tie.
Thanks.
Any other questions about the process before we go into it? Okay, so the first vote is on whether to reconsider the question or not. All in favor of reconsidering? 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to 5, 6, 7, 8. Got it?
No.
Please keep your hands back up.
Please. And you're okay. Randy Brown. Okay.
All opposed?
9.
6. 8. Do you want to see it again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we need to vote one more time. We got a miscount in the vote.
Call for a roll call.
Okay. Deborah Dawson.
No.
Rich John.
No.
Ann Corman.
Yes.
Mike Lane.
No.
Greg Mezzi.
Yes.
Dan Nolan.
Nope.
Veronica Pillar.
Yes.
Lee Shirtliff.
No.
Mike Sigler.
Yes.
Shauna Black.
Yes.
Travis Brooks.
Yes.
Randy Brown.
Yes.
Amanda Champion.
No.
Dan Klein.
Yes.
8-6.
Motion carries 8-6. So the resolution, the amendment, the proposed amendment to the budget for the 3% enhancement is back on the floor. Any discussion? Good. Ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I have 8. Yeah, makes
It's the same 8, I believe. All opposed? Motion carries 8-6.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. We have, are there any other amendments from the floor to the budget?
Can we vote on Resolution Q?
I think we have to amend it now.
They have to amend it.
Is that true?
We have to, based on the change in the number. Yeah.
It's going to take a minute to calculate those numbers.
Can we table and move on?
Yeah,
Back to it?
we've still got a couple of other things. Why don't we do those?
Is that an acceptable parliamentary move to table it?
You have to put it, yeah.
It's a separate item, so.
We could postpone it.
Really?
The other prior item here.
We're making Katrina.
Next item.
Resolution Q. Yeah.
But you could do something else in between.
Really? Okay, let's do reports so we don't have to vote yet. Community Recovery Fund Advisory Committee, no report. Downtown Facilities Special Committee, Randy Brown, Chair. Randy Brown's taking a break. Facilities and Infrastructure Committee, Lee Shurtleff, Chair.
Oh, boy. We met on October 16th, and in addition to the discussion regarding the solar panel test at the Health Department, the bulk of the agenda had to do with the Sustainable Airport Master Plan. And maybe that discussion takes on broader context after tonight. And the airport is in the process of updating the 20-year plan, and we expect to see a final version in May of 2026. CNS companies provided a guideline as to where the process is moving, and there will be plenty of opportunities for public comment in that process. We also have a couple of resolutions to bring forward. Is this the time for that, Dan?
I'm going to ask you to hold off on that. It seems like we have the information we need to go back. So thank you for your flexibility, Lee. We are back to Resolution Q. It's been moved and seconded and amended, and we are now going to hear what the current wording is.
Okay, in the first resolved, in Article 7 of County Law, for the total tax levy amount of $56,750,294, resulting in an approximate tax levy increase of 3.3, should that be 3.7? 3.37. Okay. 3.37% and a countywide average tax rate of $4.89 per thousand, an increase of 2.0%. And then in the next resolve further that because of the value of a median-priced home remained the same as 2004 at $300,000, and the tentative budget as amended results in an increased tax payment of $28.11 on a median-priced home, or a county tax payment of approximately $1,466.09. To the next resolved, further that the value of a median-priced commercial property for 2025 is $470,000, and the tentative budget as amended results in an increased tax payment of $92 on a median-priced commercial property, or a county tax payment of approximately $2,297.
Does everybody have all the numbers they need?
Sorry, the total levy was 56,759.40.
294.
Can you just read the tax levy number?
The tax levy is $56,750,294.
Thank you.
Everybody else has everything they need? Travis?
Could you repeat the increased tax payment of, it was 2716, it's what now?
2811.
And then, okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we vote?
Roll call, please.
Deborah Dawson.
Yes.
Rich John.
Yes.
Ann Corman.
Yes.
Mike Lane.
Yes.
Greg Mezzi.
Yes.
Dan Nolan.
Yes.
Veronica Pillar.
Yes.
Lee Shirtliff.
Yes.
Mike Sigler.
Yes.
Shauna Black.
Yes.
Travis Brooks.
Yes.
Randy Brown.
Yes.
Amanda Champion.
Yes.
Dan Klein.
Yes.
That is 14 ayes.
That is unanimous. Very, very well. Very good.
Thank you, folks, and
Thank you, Mike.
we'll have another budget meeting on November 13th. We all can't wait.
Okay,
Do you want to remind everybody of that?
I am going to do, want to do that now?
I just want to remind everybody that next Tuesday is a public hearing for the budget, the 28th at 5:30 here in Chambers.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you. Okay, Lee, we're back to you. You're going to do some resolutions.
I'd like to move Resolution R, budget adjustment, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport, ID number 13599.
Is there a second? Greg seconds. Discussion.
Adjustments based on expanded utility costs this year, moving from other fund reserves.
Any further discussion? Resolution R. Okay, let's have a vote then. All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
Resolution S, authorizing a 5-year extension to the Air Service Board, Ithaca Tompkins International Airport, ID number 13637.
Greg, you're seconding, but I know you want to amend it too. Do you want to do both?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I also move the amendment?
Yes. Unless, I'm sorry, Lee, unless you wanted to introduce it.
I think the resolution speaks for itself. We've been renewing the Air Service Board every 5 years, and there was a discussion at Facilities and Infrastructure, and I think what Greg is about to propose was positively received by the other members of the committee.
Very good.
I would consider it, I believe, unless the other committee members object, a friendly amendment.
Preemptively accepting that. Let's have Greg move it first.
Yeah, Dan, if I could move, in the red folder, we have an amendment submitted by myself, which would read, authorizing the establishment of the Air Service Board as a permanent advisory board at the Tompkins International Airport, with subsequent changes being in the last resolved and an additional resolved. But I would move that, and then happy to explain the rationale if there's a second.
Okay, so Lee has already said it's friendly. Is there anyone that this amendment is not friendly towards? For? Okay, then that's the main motion now. Greg.
When I asked the clerks to look into this, there was really not a strong reason why we renew it every 5 years. I think we've had a lot of discussion around our airport. As the person that serves on the Air Service Board from the legislature, it's a good group. I had a conversation with Roxanne earlier today, and she's supportive of this, sees the value in the advisory capacity. We have a number of these, and I think that as we have more and continued conversation around the health and longevity and necessity of our airport, a body such as this is important to have. And I would just kind of like to solidify that this is a valued contribution, and you can see the last few resolves that we make this a permanent advisory board, and that will continue to operate under the air service bylaws that were recently passed. And yeah, we can also at any time, if we need to have a conversation about the Air Service Board, undo this by resolution as well. So it just takes away the every 5 years need to come back for asking for reauthorization.
Further discussion on resolution S. Ready to vote then? All in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Lee, I think those were all your resolutions.
I think that's a good departure, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Was that an airport pun?
Yes.
Okay.
They get worse as the night go on.
Okay, back to Randy Brown, Chair of Downtown Facilities Special Committee.
We haven't met in 2 months. We are meeting on November 4th at 9 o'clock, and we should hear from Holt where they are with deconstruction. I think they were a little delayed because of other projects they were doing for us, probably. And then we're supposed to be getting some updates on design and cost. I would ask, of course, if you would ask that we get the files and data of what they're going to present the week before so we can get it on the agenda, because as opposed to the day of the meeting.
Yeah, will do.
Questions or comments for Randy? All right. We already did the individual member filed resolution. Shauna?
If I could do a motion to reconsider, please, for Resolution V, ID 13652.
Is there a second? Amanda seconds. Okay, so same as before, there's going to be 2 votes. First one is on whether or not to put it back on the floor, and then the second one's on the resolution itself. So on the question to reconsider, is there discussion? Shauna?
Sorry, I missed the discussion. My daughter was being inducted into the National Honor Society for Ithaca High School. So, yeah, it's exciting times. And so I wanted to just bring this back. I know we've had, this is just to reconsider.
Yeah.
Anyway, please vote for this. I think the votes might be changed.
Mike Lane?
Just to restate, this is with the amendments that were put forth by Rich, right?
That's right. Moria's
All
advised
the amendments, yeah, the new.
Moria's advised that that's the motion that got defeated, so that's the motion that's reconsidered.
Right.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. And we do have a printed version of it if we get that far. So let's first, are we ready to vote on the motion to reconsider? All in favor of reconsidering? 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Greg, is that a hand?
Deborah's a no.
Deborah's a no. Keep your hands up, please.
Yes, you're 8.
Okay, thank you. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that motion carries 8-6. How about we pause one moment here to distribute this? Okay, thank you. I'll also mention, somebody asked me at the break and said, how come that motion failed before in a 7-6 vote? So let me explain that to the world. Our rules state that every single thing we vote on has to have 8 votes in order to pass, regardless of how many people in the room, regardless of who's out, who's absent, all that. So that's why, even though it had more votes, yes votes than no, it still failed. Hope that made sense. Okay, we are back now to Resolution V, I think it is, and the wording, the new wording that was incorporated is being passed around. Shauna, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'd like to move Resolution V, resolution pausing the relocation of the Tompkins County Office for the Aging until further review and public feedback are completed.
I think it already is on the floor. Maury, can you help me out here? She doesn't need to move it again, correct?
No, it's on the floor.
It's on the floor. So you want to speak to it?
Yeah, thanks again for reconsidering this. I thought it was going to be at the end of our agenda and I wouldn't have missed it. Just wanted to bring up a few things we don't have to relitigate this. I know you all spent a lot of time on it. Whenever the Board of Election people came, emailed us, we're sitting here, gave public feedback, we definitely considered that and we changed our option as far as where we were going to move Board of Elections. I would ask for the same courtesy for our friends that are seniors, that are caregivers. They've done the emails, they've come to our meetings, they've had concerns. We need to be really thorough and consistent in our decision making here. Also, I want I want to reiterate the fact that for front-facing departments, we really need to make them fully accessible to our public. And that isn't done whenever they're at 121 Dutch Mill. So.
Travis.
I would like to ask if we do pass this and open it up and hear from the public, that we actually share with the public what our intentions are. I don't know if it's clear to the public what the plan is if they move up there, that we will be going to folks rather than expecting folks to come to us. And I think that needs to be clear. I don't know if it's been made clear at this point in time. Because if I was a senior, I would much rather have you come to my house than me having to figure out a way to get to you. So I think people should know what that plan is.
Randy.
Yeah, I mean, I read the email from Lisa in her discussion, and I think Travis makes a good point, is that there's a way for them to go to the public, wherever the public may be, whether it's at a congregate meal or all the booths are setting up. I think that makes a lot more sense than them coming to a building somewhere. So.
Was it Mike Sigler? Did you ever hand out Mike Sigler? Okay. Sigler, then Amanda.
No, I would just ask Shauna the same thing that I asked of other legislators, if they have ideas on what department. I mean, it's not about which department, really. It's either the Board of Elections or COFA, it seems to me. But if you have an idea of some other space that's available for the Board of Elections, then we're all kind of ears on that.
Shauna, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I meant there are a few options. Herald Square has some space for rent, retail space for lease for short term. There also might be some interest from the Sheriff's Department to move over to Dutch Mill. So I think there are a lot of options here.
Yeah,
but that doesn't solve the problem.
I do want to remind you that all we are at,
COFA would stay where they are.
This resolution does not talk about the Board of Elections. It talks about reconsidering the move for COFA. Okay, I've got Amanda, then Mike Lane.
I would just, I mean, people keep saying that COFA should go to people. They do. That's the one of the main things that they do is they have outreach workers who go out to them. There are a lot of other things that happen at their office that people need to go to the office for. So don't imagine that, you know, they're just sitting in their office with no outreach. I mean, they have numerous workers who do that.
Mike Lane.
We're just trying to understand what the policy ought to be here. And I don't think we should second guess our administration about this once we tell them what the policy is.
Travis.
I hear from folks in this room, rightfully so, that we need to trust the department heads. If the department head says we can make this work, we can do more of what we're doing in this situation, I'm not sure why we're second guessing the department head. I know we need to hear from the public, and I'm cool with that. But none of us run COFA. And if the person that is running COFA says they can make it work, then I'm not sure why we don't listen to them and support whatever tools they need to make it work. I'm not sure why we would second guess the department head. And this isn't a response to anybody in particular.
Dan Nolan.
Yeah, similar to what Travis said, you know, when the Board of Elections folks had talked to us, they said and listed and were very specific with how it wouldn't work for what they were going for. The COFA department head came and said, it's totally fine, we can do this. I'm not sure what this, even the adopted amendment really, I'm not sure how it moves the ball forward. I don't know how it gets us closer to a solution of any type. I mean, sure, it opens up a public comment period, and that's great. But, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about this already publicly, and a couple of meetings since we last passed the last resolution. So, yeah, I just don't, I'm not, without a more definitive action plan for what we would do in its place, I can't support it.
Shauna?
I mean, I wasn't here whenever you all took out all the substance of the of the resolution, the actual to-dos. So I don't want to go back and forth and add them back because that actually gave the resolution teeth and an action plan moving forward. With that said, though, I think whenever I spoke with Lisa today. She doesn't want to be in the middle of this. She wants to be a flexible department head, like my assumption is most of our department heads would want to be. The decision was made without going to the advisory board. She has heard from her advisory board that says they're very unhappy about the move. And so, if you're going to ask a department head, what do you think? She's not going to weigh in. And I don't know if we'd put many of our department heads in that situation. As far as people that are on the ground, we trust our advisory boards. They're the representatives. And as you can see from the Office of Aging Advisory Board, they're people from each one of our districts. There's Town of Ithaca, City of Ithaca, Enfield, Trumansburg, and so it's all people that are coming from all different parts of our county that are there and that have signed off on the letter that they sent us with concerns over the location.
Amanda.
It's getting late, but I do want to just correct that one of our Board of Elections commissioners made the case to move. The Republican commissioner was completely undermined and did not know that this was happening and wrote us a very long letter and also came to GO that they did not want to move. But that is not what we chose to listen to. And what Shauna said, I don't believe that the director of COFA was meaningfully talked to about this. I believe that they were told that it was going to happen and that she said, okay, we'll do our best because that's her job.
Okay, so we are covering a lot of the same ground. Maybe we can get to a vote soon. Greg?
I would love to engage the Air Service Board as an advisory board on what their thoughts are about our funding of the airport. I understand that we have advisory boards, but they're for advice and to weigh in. And then we have to take all the information at hand and synthesize that to come up with a conclusion. So unfortunately, as we've seen many times around this table, we've taken the advice of our advisory boards and acted in a different direction. But it's not to our lack of appreciation or our lack of commitment to the role that they play in this process. It's just the reality of sometimes we have more to consider than they do as single issue advisory boards or single focused advisory boards. We have a larger picture to steward. And so I think with all respect to the COFA Advisory Board, this is just, I think, the direction we need to be going with this move, and that's, again, why we'll continue to not support the resolution.
Are we ready for a vote?
Please.
How about a roll call? Yeah.
Deborah Dawson.
No.
Rich John.
Yes.
Ann Corman.
No.
Mike Lane.
Yes.
Greg Mezzi.
No.
Dan Nolan.
No.
Veronica Pillar.
Yes.
Lee Shirtliff.
No.
Mike Sigler.
No.
Shauna Black.
Yes.
Travis Brooks.
Yes.
Randy Brown.
No.
Amanda Champion.
Yes.
Dan Klein.
Yes.
7-7. 7-7.
7-7, the motion fails.
Oh, yes?
We are up to the minutes of the previous meeting. Somebody want to move the minutes of October 7th? Rich moves, Mike Sigler seconds. Any discussion?
If we can get 7-7 on this.
Ready to vote then? All in favor? Any opposed to the minutes? Okay, that's unanimous. Is there any unfinished business?
We didn't like our clerk.
Okay, I want to just say it again in case it didn't get said real clearly last time. Earlier. The next meeting is not 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today is Election Day. So our next legislature meeting is on Thursday, November 6th. So between now and then, remember to vote. See you all next time.
But 1 week from today is the public hearing for the budget, right?
1 week from today is a public hearing, 5:30.
5:30.
Okay, we are adjourned.